We apologize for the little bit of a delay. We have fixed things. The gremlins got loose, but fortunately, we have a great engineer who worked his magic remotely
We're
with the help of
back.
Jimmy, and we're back, baby.
And
Believe it or not, if you want us or not on a Wednesday,
and
we're back.
Separately, the computers were fixed, which is a completely different deal. So we were set to go and then some this morning. It was just other stuff that
We're wondering if the last show in the studio sabotaged Jimmy.
Maybe it's hard. Maybe were they hazing him a little bit, like a delayed new hire deal?
it only took 2 months.
I don't know. There's some fishy stuff going on of what was going on over there, where there's a lot of lights and a lot of buttons and a lot of sliders.
Yeah, a lot of sliders.
I think we might have. Do we have a little? I don't know, controversy internally at 1620.
Something smells.
Somebody sabotaged Jimmy.
Something smells
from the last show that was on the air.
Something smells fishy.
I don't know. Was it After Hours? After Hours doesn't like Gary and Friends.
I was going to say, Jimmy and I got along great, although he does say that his way of spelling the name is the correct way, which I politely disagree with.
I don't know. I was on Jimmy's show Sunday night.
Yeah?
I thought we had a good relationship.
Thought you guys were cool?
Apparently they sabotaged our board.
They just lit it all on fire, huh?
He did tell me he had Kansas winning and like covering and all that. And so that's probably what it was.
He was sucking up to you. All right, we are on. We are rolling. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Robbie is in today. There is Jimmy. I think and if I was the younger radio guy, like young in this business, I would have probably already gone home. I'm not doing. No, I'm not doing this today. Fix it. So I'm just nice, calm, and cool and collected. Yeah, because we got a show to do on a Wednesday.
That's right. We got to give the people what they want.
Yeah. All right. Let me first give you the lineup, and then we're going to talk about Ed Malloy is part of the conversation, not only here in the studio. Really, 6 technical fouls, 17 personal fouls in the third quarter last night.
That's impressive.
7 technicals, I think. I think it was 7.
I know it was 6 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
But coming up, today is on a hump day on Illinois week around here, Fighting Illini, the Brett Bielema game. Nebraska volleyball plays a rather important grudge match tonight in Madison, Wisconsin against Wisconsin. So it's the number 1 team in the country against the number 5 team, Nebraska being number 1. Kind of just, we were preseason number 1. Then we weren't. Now we're back to 1. Yeah, the rankings really matter. The only thing that matters is RPI, and if you're home for the first 2 weekends potentially of the NCAA tournament. I just thought, I think it was it Matty Kubik that yesterday said, it's cool. I mean, you've made it like as a program when you're number 1, and it's still significant to be number 1, and you just go, yeah, it's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
That's cute.
It's cool. Like there are certain programs like Nebraska volleyball and like Creighton men's basketball. They are being ranked in the preseason as high as they've ever been. But like yesterday, the coaches' ranking came out. It was number 9. You're like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, if Creighton was
that's cool. I mean,
if Creighton got to number 1, it would be a much larger.
Yeah, now that would be different.
But everybody expected Creighton to be in the top 10. Everybody kind of expects Nebraska to be 1, 2 in there. Especially the way their season has gone. I think a lot of people have felt like they're the best team in the country, regardless of what the ranking is.
I just want to get to the point where, like in radio, they say, "Hey, guys are number 1." You go, "Oh, cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's neat."
Oh, again? Oh, that's fine.
But Brett Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star, who covers Nebraska volleyball and does a great job of that. He will join us coming up at 8. We will talk some Illinois football. Robert Rosenthal, who's got a beat on the Fighting Illini, who are 6-1 in the throes of a 5-game winning streak. And people wonder, are they legit? This weekend goes a long way in telling us if they are legit. As a 7.5-point favorite on the road, people are aware of the Fighting Illini. People are patting them on the back. People are talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
People are looking inside of the numbers. Now they go on the road in a place where it seems like the people in Champaign have spent a lot of time talking about the stadium and the crowd.
They have, yeah. This is an unusual spot for them.
Bielema described the stadium as a vertical stadium. I mean, they've talked a lot about the crowd. So to be curious, and maybe I'm not diving into it very deep yet. Sam McHugh was on yesterday. He talked about, hey, I think it's going to be a loud atmosphere. What will that do to Illinois? Then he's asking Mickey yesterday. He didn't interrupt to ask a question, but he asked Mickey, about the atmosphere and the crowd. And it's curious. So we'll, is Illinois legit? I think they're a good football team. I think they're a football team in the West Division.
Yes.
Which is not the best division in America by far. Captain Obvious moment here on a Wednesday. But to go on the road in this game after a bye week when you've run through Iowa and Minnesota back-to-back and people are talking about you, and now you're a favorite where and against a program which you have absolutely no fear.
Right.
I mean, your head coach last year said, and they beat you on week 0. So this is kind of the week to me to go, yeah, Illinois in 2022 is a problem. So Robert Rosenthal will join us coming up at 8:30. Scott Shanley stops by at 9. What do you think between now and 9? How many players on his own team will Aaron Rodgers throw under the bus?
Ooh,
Total, maybe 2, 3?
I was going to put the over-under at 2.5.
I like the game that Aaron Rodgers plays. There was a moment where I liked the person. Boy, there are moments, and maybe it's just Tuesdays with Pat McAfee. He comes off as so arrogant. Like they had the smartest guy in the room.
He's incredibly pretentious.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the ayahuasca may have worn off. He's not quite as chill as he was earlier in the season.
Now they're struggling, and I had him in the Super Bowl because I love that defense, and then slowly he would engage with his wide receivers, and they'd find a way on offense and maybe run the ball with Jones and maybe throw in a little bit of Dillon.
You had Packers Chargers, right?
Yeah. No, I had Packers Bills.
Okay, so you're good on
no,
one.
I wasn't that crazy. I was not doing anything that day. But at some point, he also hasn't been good.
No, he hasn't.
It's not like he's getting buried by an avalanche of rushers. He just hasn't been good. So I don't know. Maybe in our sports world, if you live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or Iowa City, maybe a little humility would go a long way.
Even just a little self-awareness would be nice.
Yeah, read the room. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I know in the past you've been able to push the right buttons with your teammates, but maybe this team is a little bit different.
And maybe for once it's not all their fault. I mean, I understand there's been times in Aaron Rodgers' career where it mostly has been everyone else's fault because he's been awesome, right? Like that's a fair assessment. That's not what's happening right now. He's not the same guy he was 2-3 years ago, even last year. And so having some self-awareness about yourself to say, hey, maybe I'm contributing to the issues here, that would go a long way, I think, with your teammates, more so than just letting Pat McAfee back over him with an 18-wheeler.
I mean, I even think Pat McAfee was like, whoa. So Scott Shanley will join us at 9. Brandon Vogel coming up at 9:40. While you were sleeping last night, there was, I guess for the 25th of October, a kind of significant NBA game where the mouthy Phoenix Suns defeated your Golden State Warriors. And Klay Thompson, for the first time in his career, got tossed.
He did.
Got in a little tussle with Devin Booker, who, by the way, is off to another great start. No shocker.
Yes, very good.
But Klay Thompson not off to a good start.
No, he's not shooting the ball well at all.
Golden State's first half defense, atrocious once again.
Yep.
But last night, Thompson gets thrown out of the game, and I guess his trash talk was 4 rings. 4 rings. Now, that's kind of funny.
I thought I saw a picture of him.
That's kind of funny, especially against a team that had a chance to win a ring a couple years ago and then failed miserably last year.
Oh, and that has Chris Paul.
That's funny. I'm all in for more Golden State Phoenix games. They don't play again until the middle of November.
I think that's right. Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed that last night. I think the best trash talk is the subtle.
Yes.
And then when he gets tossed, I don't think he knew what to do because it's never happened in his career.
Well, and he's normally a pretty chill guy. Like he'll get fired up every once in a while when he's on a heater, but for the most part, he is pretty chill. I think there was a lot of frustration there with he's not shooting the ball very well. He's not necessarily playing great basketball right now. And so I think that kind of contributed to his tension of the situation. But yeah, I'm here for trash talking Klay 100% of the time. Whatever version of Klay wants to give us, I'm here for it. But I have to say trash talking Klay is pretty high at the top of the list for me.
But you got to work on your defense again.
Yeah, not good.
You got to work on your first half defense.
Well, I think they're trying to, watching the last couple games, I think they're trying to figure out, and this is a hot take. Are you ready?
I'm okay.
It's scorching hot at 6:30 in the morning.
The way we got started today, you could
this will fit right in
the radio station on fire.
I think they're trying to figure out a configuration of their players that works without Draymond.
Okay.
In case they decide to move on from him, even in season.
I know they changed up their little rotation in the first half last night. There was more Wiseman.
Kuminga
is
missing.
Okay.
played 2 nights ago. I don't know if he's on, I don't know if he has not been playing well in practice or whatever. Moody got a lot of minutes early last night, which was weird. They did this some last year too, where they just kind of, like Damian Lee would play for 10 games and then kind of be out of the rotation. And then it would be, I forget, I always want to call him Chorizo. It's like Choyoza or something, would come and play for like 10 games and then wouldn't be out of the rotation. I'm surprised they're doing it with Kuminga. I thought he'd be a bigger part of this. But if you watch the way they're using Looney too, they're using Looney on a lot of those short rolls that has always been Draymond's thing to see it. I think they're trying to figure out if they can exist without Draymond. And I think that's a big part of what's happening right now.
There was another part of last night's game. You got Kevin Harlan. I listen to Kevin Harlan. Candace Parker, by the way, is fantastic.
Yeah.
People aren't so sold on Reggie Miller.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's okay to admit it out loud.
Not sold on.
Reggie Miller's annoying.
He's a lot. Yeah,
just too many words.
Yeah.
Too many words.
Say less, Reg.
And not much substance to them.
But part of the game last night, does anybody else believe in announcer jinx?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
They teach us that in an announcer school.
So Curry had not missed a free throw.
Yep.
And Kevin Harlan brings that up because which announcer does not?
And then what happened?
He missed.
Immediately missed a free throw.
Okay, so here's the thing that I wondered watching the broadcast last night. Because, you'll get accused of this if you bring something up and then immediately somebody misses a field goal.
Yeah.
Or they miss a free throw. Or they're on a heater and you say, hey, they're 8 for the last 8 from the field. And boom, then they miss a shot. They'll be like, oh, radio guy, it's all on you. I'm here to tell you, we have nothing to do with it. But it was, do you believe that Curry last night, so Curry misses the free throw, which, I mean, he misses what, 5 a year?
Yeah, he shoots over 90% every year.
Yeah, I mean, the net hardly ripples. But as people like when the arena were stunned, is like teammates were stunned. On the broadcast, they're giving Kevin Harlan a bad time. Curry, I don't think that he could hear because there's no way.
I wouldn't
There's
imagine.
no way because they're on the road and the place was kind of loud.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were playing in San Francisco and it was quiet with Curry shooting a free throw. But he's smiling and he's gnawing on his mouthpiece, which I think if you want to be cool in sports like Mahomes and Curry, you don't really ever put the mouthpiece in. You just gnaw on it.
Yeah, you can't actually have it in your mouth.
And now I've noticed that we've gone to the really tiny, skinny mouthpieces.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Remember when we were all playing football and you'd go and get your first mouthpiece?
Get the huge one.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And you'd have to mold it. Your mom and dad would help you mold it before your first football practice. And it was so awkward to have that in your mouth while you're playing football. Now they've gone to like the smaller mouthpieces, or hell, some guys don't even wear a mouthpiece.
Well, especially in basketball, most guys don't.
Sometimes Trey Palmer will forget he has a mouthpiece. He just sticks it on the side of his helmet. But so he's, gnawing on it and he's got that Curry smile. He points to the broadcasting crew. Do you believe that he heard that he was 22 for his first 22 at the line? Or was he just, Reggie Miller was over there laughing, and so he was just pointing at him?
Yeah,
because announcers were getting some hate this morning that we screwed Curry. I
kind of lean towards the latter, that he was just giving, like he maybe saw Reggie laughing, because there's no way. It's not like they pumped that audio through the arena, and there's no way he actually heard Kevin Harlan say that. It makes for a really funny visual, especially when you have the Kevin Harlan call over it. But I don't think there's any way he heard him. I mean, there's just not. And listen, it's not like this was a finals game. I don't care that he missed the free throw. He was going to miss one eventually, right? Like that's
what makes it fun. It's October.
Kind of what happens. Like he wasn't going to go 100% for the year. So I mean, maybe he thought he was, but so I was like, yeah, I don't know why in this particular, and it's not like he broke up a no-hitter, right? Like you're like in the 8th inning.
Okay, so that's another prime case of the announcer jinx.
Yes.
And again, we have nothing to do with it.
Are you sure? You don't have godlike powers while on the mic?
He hasn't given up a hit through 6 innings. Okay. All right.
Just telling the fact. You can't see the scoreboard.
Yeah, you just can't say no hitter.
I would say no hitter.
Have you?
Have you
ever been in that spot?
I've never called a no hitter.
Have you been in a spot where a guy was like 5 deep?
Well, I've been an official scorer of a no hitter, and that gets I'm more nervous there.
Yeah, well, because you got the hit error thing, right?
Yeah, and I'd like to say, hey, get a hit. That's why, as an official scorer, like once the first hit on each side is done for the night, you say out loud, all we need is outs. Let's go. My job is done tonight. But
Enjoy your hot dog and Coke and go home.
that was a quite entertaining Tuesday night of basketball in the association.
The first game was pretty good too. That Pelicans Mavericks game.
Telling you, the Pelicans are one of the best teams to watch on League Pass. Now, last night they were on national TV. They're entertaining,
even without Zion.
Yeah, but they've got an entertaining roster.
They do.
They got a lot of different pieces that somehow are coming together. And somehow Willie Green is doing a really, really good job as the head coach of the Pelicans. And a lot of people don't know Willie Green. Good story, though, how he got to that spot.
They play a pretty appealing brand of basketball. Like, I would rather watch the Pelicans style of play than the Mavericks, even though Luka's better than anybody on their team. But the style that the Pelicans play is actually pretty fun.
And that can be a fun place when they're winning. So they get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, New Orleans, it's a good crowd.
Look at last year.
Yeah.
When they were playing Phoenix.
They are, I think they're kind of a sneaky sleeper team in the West.
I wouldn't want to play them
if they stay healthy, which is an enormous if, right? Especially with Zion. But if they stay healthy, they're problematic for almost everybody.
All right, that's Robbie. He's in today. There's Jimmy. When we come back, so Nebraska gets ready to play number 17, Illinois, and everything they bring defensively. If you went back through the previous 7 games, how many of those games did you say, like on a Wednesday before the game, Casey Thompson needs to be the best player on the field? In my opinion, Casey Thompson needs to be the best player on the field this Saturday.
Okay. Interesting.
Has to be the best player on the field. Not Chase Brown, not Devin Witherspoon, not Trey Palmer, but Casey Thompson, in my opinion, needs to be the best player on the field. I will tell you why I believe that against a stellar defense. And it's not just because they're good on defense and Nebraska's going to have to find something on offense. I think there's other parts of his game. Why we're kind of tiptoe. We don't say, hey, Casey, be better than Tommy DeVito, be better than Noah Vedral.
Yeah.
Even though that's a given.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'm saying it. It needs to happen if Nebraska is to have any kind of success. Casey Thompson needs to be the best player on the field.
Well, if Witherspoon's the best player on the field, Nebraska's in trouble.
Well,
in a lot of trouble.
That means that he's probably bugged the heck out of Trey Palmer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're going to be in a bad way if he's the best player.
He was just named one of the 12 Jim Thorpe semifinalists.
Yeah, I mean, seems like he's going to be a first-round draft pick as a corner. He's really, really good.
It's amazing. I mean, people are talking about Illinois football. Good for them. Good for them. But I'm not ready to cross over into Urbana yet. I'm still in Champaign. They're good. They're good.
I see what you did.
But when you win on the road at Nebraska as a favorite and you're kind of running through the West, you would have beaten Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and now Nebraska. Then I go, okay, they might as well rent a room in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And then the curiosity of their defense against, maybe the Death Star wide receiver group of Ohio State.
Well, and it's winning with expectations is different. And this is really the first time I think all year that Illinois is playing with expectations. Minnesota was kind of a test for them, was kind of their test balloon. Wisconsin was a big win, but I think we all kind of were iffy about what Wisconsin was even by that point. Obviously, the Iowa game was super ugly, but we all had our reservations about Iowa. I think going into Minnesota, people were pretty confident about who Minnesota was, although that's changed in the last week. This Nebraska game is the first time they're going in as the clear-cut favorite in the West. And how does a team who has not experienced a lot of success up to this point, how do they handle that? That's going to be their biggest test, because that's not saying that Nebraska is a better team than Iowa, a better team than Minnesota or whoever, but the circumstances in which Illinois finds themselves are more challenging.
All right, we'll get into that much more as we roll till 10. Brett Wagner is going to come up at 8. A big night on BTN, 8 o'clock tonight. Nebraska and Wisconsin volleyball from the dungeon. That is the field house in Madison, Wisconsin, which on TV looks so dark. It's not just they have the floor illuminated and that's it. This looks like a dark place, dark and dank. That's a terrible place to go to, Ravi, is dark and dank.
Oh, I thought you just meant Madison, Wisconsin.
I was going to say, I've heard good things about
Madison, Wisconsin. Madtown is lit.
It's okay.
It's lit.
It's okay.
You had a bad experience there?
Had a bad ex-wife there.
All right, Robbie wins for the day.
I still like Fort Myers.
After Nebraska plays on Saturday, you'll wake up on Sunday morning with a severe reaction. Michael Severe returns to 1620 The Zone, and he won't hold back about what went right and what went wrong during the game. He'll also take calls from the most important voice of all, yours, Severe Reaction. Sundays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., powered by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally, only on 1620 The Zone. Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Greg Gonzalez retired as a tenured and decorated Deputy Chief of Police at the Omaha Police Department. Greg has over 28 years of experience and successfully climbed the ranks from street cop to Deputy Police Chief in charge of hundreds of police officers. Greg holds a bachelor's in criminal justice and a master's in public administration. Greg has the education, executive leadership, and budget experience needed to manage the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Greg has helped recruit and hire over 450 officers. Greg Gonzalez will hire and train deputies to patrol your neighborhoods and keep you safe at night. Greg is the only candidate who has the executive leadership experience at the ranks of deputy chief, captain, and lieutenant. His opponent does not have the temperament, education, rank, budget, or supervisory experience needed to successfully lead the entire Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Hire the most qualified person for the job. Vote Greg Gonzalez for Douglas County Sheriff.
Hi, I'm Greg Gonzalez, and I approve this message. Paid for by Greg for Sheriff.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction. Presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and more. Join the show immediately after the game and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction on 1019 The Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far with their breakfast. Like the naked egg taco and chicken biscuit nachos? It was too much. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food. Like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. You know why it's the perfect time? Because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Yeah, you heard me correctly. $1,000. That's free bets if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do, sign up with promo code ZONE. That's easy. Promo code ZONE. One thing about FanDuel, it has all your favorite bets from money line to point spreads to player props, and it's easy to find. You get your winnings paid fast, and live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. Plus, it's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So all you have to do, sign up today with promo code ZONE for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code ZONE. You can make every moment more this season with FanDuel. It is the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 over, present in Iowa, first online real money wager only. Refund is issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
1620 The Zone.
Coming up at 11 a.m. this morning, the Big Ten will release their 23 schedule on the Big Ten Network. They're having a show. I will watch. I hope others watch. I think schedule shows are great. The only problem I have with the schedule show, and I know that he's part of BTN studio shows
Mhm.
is Pat Forty, and we'll be commenting on the schedule
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you need Pat Forty.
No, probably not.
Yeah, just rifle through the schedule. I mean,
Your own panel would suffice.
well, I mean, it's so for me personally. I will probably watch outside of live on Saturdays. Probably today will be the day that I watch more BTN than I normally do. There's no,
There's no must watch.
there's nothing that draws you there. Like the SEC network does a really good job of being prevalent in the markets that they are.
Mhm.
So a lot of people tune to the SEC network to get their news. I don't do that. I don't feel like people around here immediately 24/7 have BTN on
Yeah.
unless it's live sports.
Yeah, unless
Okay.
they have a game on.
So today, and this is where the Big Ten Network, I think, comes into play is Olympic sports. We all want more baseball, but
Mhm.
they've done a great job of elevating volleyball and wrestling
yes.
in a conference that is dominant in both sports. And so tonight, Nebraska and Wisconsin will be on BTN, and BTN for volleyball has kind of taken over Wednesday. They've made it a cool deal. It's a great idea. So they're having the schedule show today. So I will probably watch more BTN outside of Saturday games than I normally do. But when they announced the schedule at 11 today, I think you just need Dave Revson. I don't know, maybe
Donardo.
you sneak in somebody else. But something to watch. So I know nothing about, like, I don't have a tip on what the schedule is going to look like.
Right.
But this is what I think will happen for Nebraska is they will open up at Minnesota, but it
Okay.
will be a Thursday night game.
Ooh, Thursday.
Yeah, Minnesota plays a lot of those week
Yeah.
one. So
So originally Nebraska was supposed to start at Minnesota, but Minnesota likes starting their season on the Big Ten Network on that Thursday night.
Okay.
So if it's Nebraska, I think that game will be on Thursday to kick off the week one of college football.
Ooh, I don't know that I would mind that. That might
I mean,
be
we used to
okay.
like that. We used to like when Nebraska would go to Stillwater, or
exactly what I thought of.
they would go to Lubbock and they
Yeah.
would open on, or they would play on Thursday, not necessarily open the season, but
play on a Thursday.
yeah, play on a Thursday.
Then you've got
They
kind
did
of
open at
the-
Oklahoma State on a Thursday.
Then you kind of have the extra. You got the mini bye week, as they
That's-
call it.
hey,
There,
man.
it's not a terrible way to open the season.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that's not bad.
This
Ease
is
into
all.
it.
Hey, this is also very key for people that are thinking about getting engaged and eventually married in 23, because at 11 a.m. today you will have.
Find out what
Your
dates.
dates.
What dates are available.
This
in
is
the
what's
fall.
available. Let's
Yeah.
start calling.
I mean, that's huge.
No, it is.
That's huge. Reception halls, churches, be ready about 11, probably 11:30.
You're gonna get
Hope
some
they don't
calls.
stretch it out.
You're gonna get some calls.
Yeah.
By noon for sure.
So wedding planners should be watching as well today.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have your phone ready.Maybe have some extra customer care representatives.
But people think we're joking. We're serious.
No, it's the truth.
100% accurate.
So if you're thinking about getting married, okay, I mean, maybe you pulled the trigger because you find out what week Nebraska will not be playing. But I think this is just, I'm trying to connect the dots. Nebraska and Minnesota will open on August 31st.
I'd be okay. I think I'd be okay with that.
I mean, Nebraska's going to open with a conference game, and that's what I think it is. Because Nebraska's first game on their schedule is until the 9th of September.
Right. So we know there's something before
Yeah.
then, right? So I think Thursday.
So that would be kind of unique. And if I was the Big Ten Network, the new head coach at Nebraska,
it's a good way to open up.
he's opening up on a Thursday on the Big Ten Network.
That'll
playing,
get some
playing at
eyeballs.
Minnesota, which is, they have grabbed that Thursday night game and held it. Remember, they played Ohio State a couple of years ago. Usually draws pretty well.
Oh, so
This
I
year
mean, I
was,
could see Fox
well,
picking it up.
this
then.
year was what was Purdue Penn State Fox, or was that
That was
BTN?
Fox.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I think it was
maybe
Fox.
Fox picks it up because of if
The
Nebraska would have a new coach, yeah.
storylines and that's a
So
pretty.
I know nothing. That's what I'm just trying to connect the dots, that I think Nebraska and Minnesota will open in Minneapolis on the 31st of August.
Well, and Nebraska Minnesota is a pretty good matchup, especially for that first weekend. You don't always get a ton of good matchups there, so it would make sense if Fox picked that up as kind of their kickoff to the season. If you're Nebraska, it's good to be on kind of a highlighted night there and have some eyeballs on you with the new head coach.
Start in the West Division. The weather would be nice. There'd be a lot of people up there probably.
Yeah, I think so. I'm in.
Oh yeah.
You sold me.
Let's hope this happens. Now I know nothing. But I'm
But it makes too much
but
sense.
Minnesota's schedule doesn't have them until the 9th, because again, the original schedule had Nebraska at Minnesota. But I
Yeah.
think that will be the Thursday night game.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm all in. Should we buy the tickets? Let's go.
Take the show on the road.
Well,
Juicy
go.
Lucy's for everyone.
I thought that was an Iowa
Such
thing.
a tourist.
Is that a Minnesota thing?
No, Juicy Lucy's Minnesota. You're thinking of loose meat sandwiches.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm here for all
Do
of
not
them.
confuse them. They are drastically different, Bobby.
What is the difference?
Well,
I thought they were both sloppy joes.
my man,
Call me a tourist.
I might have to go get you a picture book. And the fact that you called the loose meat sandwich of Iowa a sloppy Joe.
Is it not a sloppy joe?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't mean to offend you. You
No,
look like
I-
you're on the edge there.
Okay, so I haven't lived in Iowa for a while, but I was born in Iowa.
Right. Born and raised.
So I've got to protect like the tenderloin and the loose meat sandwich.
I'm
Do love
familiar
and
with
tenderloin.
And the pork.
I'm familiar with the tenderloin. I know what pork is.
Yeah.
I see why Ravi said that. I get it.
There's like a slight resemblance to a sloppy joe,
It could
though,
be a
is there not?
cousin.
Of a loose meat sandwich?
Okay. Okay. We're gonna go on a road trip and we're gonna go to Made Right.
Now
And
this
we're
is
gonna
what
get a loose meat sandwich.
I've heard of Made Right. I know what Made Right is. I don't know that I've ever eaten at one.
I know that I've not had a sloppy Joe since I was living under the roof of my parents.
Yeah, I've
Because
never
it was like the Tuesday lunch at St. Pius X. Was
Yeah.
the sloppy Joe.
I've never chosen a sloppy joe. Like
Are
not
sloppy Joes still a thing?
I bet in cafeterias they are. They've got to be.
And you don't really ever run into anybody that says, you know what? Hey, why don't you come over tonight? Because
Got a real
Uh,
hankering for
w-
sloppy joes.
wife is making sloppy Joes.
I'll bring wine.
I'm out. I'm out. Sloppy
I think
joes.
the sloppy Joe has been retired.
I wish they would retire meatloafs too.
This Made Right deal looks legit.
Not a meatloaf guy.
Yeah, I ate it because I belong to my mom and dad.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
There's so many better options.
Iowa JD says to tell you that a Made Right is pure trash. Iowa needs to walk away from this abomination of a
Whoa.
sandwich.
Whoa, that's
It's like a food metaphor for Kirk
Jesus,
Ferentz. Or...
Jesus, JD is all out. I mean, how can you like Iowa anymore?
I was
He
gonna
hates
say-
the sandwich of Iowa next to the tenderloin.
Is he renouncing his Iowa citizenship? What's going on over there?
JD's just blowing up the state of Iowa. Next thing you know, you're gonna be voting for a Democrat.
going after
Six
come and go.
sports. I got my thing about Casey Thompson. I might save it for the next hour because I think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get you distracted
No,
on the
I
loose meat
I saw
sandwiches.
I saw the preview of the Big Ten Network given the schedule. I love schedule shows. I'm here for creating schedule shows. I watch the NFL Network do their schedule. I watch
Here's a question
other
for
places. I like that.
you: should this be in prime time? Should
Yeah, you know
they
what?
have kept it?
It does seem kind of
It's weird. to be-
interesting that it's at noon Eastern time, 11 Central. Yeah, that does. But don't they have? Isn't there daily live show at noon?
yeah, but
Don't they do a daily live show? I think.
if you're trying to replicate kind of the SEC network and get more people
Yeah,
to watch,
the SEC
and
network.
You could do it on a Tuesday night.
But here's where the SEC network is different. Like with any of those kind of things, they have Feinbaum as a lead-in, and Feinbaum's show is huge on the SEC.
I
network.
get that.
So people are watching. So that leads into they do it at 6. Yeah,
I just
the
feel like
noon
you'd-
Eastern is kind of.
I feel like you'd get more eyeballs on a prime time kind of deal there.
I mean, it'll be good for content. I'm sure that tomorrow we will spend
Oh, we're gonna
45 minutes on a 2023 schedule
dissect the schedule.
and just promise people that we'll come back to Illinois on Friday.
but I think they're okay with that.
No, I don't think so.
There's actually a football game in like 2 days. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know that.
Yeah. Which show in the building is most likely to get the 23 schedule and go win, loss, win?
Ooh, yeah.
No,
What's
knowing not
nothing?
who the coach is, not what the roster,
Not who
will
the quarterback
look like,
is.
and just go win. That's a win.
Not
win,
who
loss.
anybody else's quarterbacks or coaches
Most
are going to
likely show, not this one, Connor or Unsportsmanlike Conduct to do
be. Win
the
loss.
win loss on the 23 schedule to be released at 11 a.m.
You know I love the afternoon guys, but I bet we have a record by 6 p.m. today.
They will go there. Somebody will bait them into it. That is guaranteed.
I was saying they may not plan it. A caller will get them to go there.
All right. Brent Wagner is going to make his debut. I love Brent, but he's going to be on for the first time to talk Nebraska-Wisconsin volleyball. Huge match.
It
Really-
is.
And it's kind of
Rematch, little grudge match.
Nebraska volleyball in this state, I mean, people puff their chest out. They're a wagon. They're not going to sweep Wisconsin. Now, if they do, Katie bar the door, and I would go overboard at ticketsforless.com getting Final Four volleyball tickets.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like People don't like Wisconsin. Wisconsin has owned Nebraska. A little grudge.
Yeah.
You feel like, anytime you feel like John Cook has like a little beef with the other coach,
Yeah.
you're like, don't mess with John Cook.
Here we go.
That's the kind of feel of tonight.
Oh, yeah. There's some bad blood here.
So Brent Wagner will join us coming up at 8. We'll talk about the Fighting Illini. Robert Rosenthal at 8:30. Scott Shanley stops by at 9 and Brandon Vogel as well. Good lineup today.
Jim called. Wants you both to know that AJ's on 90th has a Sloppy Joe special for lunch.
Pass.
Been to AJ's before.
I don't think I have.
But I'm probably not going there for the Sloppy Joe.
Not for the Sloppy Joe special. Yeah.
What, did he say what comes with the Sloppy Joe special?
He did not.
I imagine fries of some kind.
Oh, I think potato chips.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, duh.
yeah.
Fries and Sloppy Joe.
You're right. You're right.
The potato chip
It is.
and the pickle spear.
It's the staple. The potato chip is the staple side of the Sloppy Joe.
Yeah. And the 12-ounce Pepsi in a plastic cup. Maybe that's the special. I just revealed the special today.
If it wasn't, it is now.
AJ is a nice little spot just to slide right into.
It's one of those places you can hide. We were talking about the
Not
other day.
really hide, but
Okay.
it's not bad. It doesn't get a lot of run,
Okay.
but it's not bad to go there.
All
Been
right.
there a couple of times.
Sounds like my kind of place.
It's just
Let's go.
it's people don't like it's not really off the beaten path. But people aren't like when you say, hey, where should I go for lunch?
It's not the first one off the top of their head.
No,
Okay.
I support those people.
That's good. You got to support local businesses.
It's not a chain.
Not a chain.
You might go to Des Moines though, and there might be another guy named AJ that owns a restaurant. He calls it AJ's.
That's coincidental, though. That's not
that's how
a
that works.
franchise so much. But I bet they wouldn't have a Sloppy Joe special. They'd have a loose meat sandwich special.
Sloppy Joe was the Tuesday at St. Pius X, I believe, was the Sloppy Joe. Fridays when it wasn't Lent was the square pizza that fit nicely into the tray.
Oh, love the rectangle pizza.
Yes.
Terrific. Did you
Yeah.
guys do Crispitos?
We did not.
It was like an oddly crunchy like burrito with like neon cheese on top. Loved a Crispito.
When you think about your days of like your school lunches that you ate, as you got older and paid attention to your body and nutrition, there is no chance in heck that you would eat that stuff.
You ever wonder how
But yet they served it to us and we thought it was like the greatest thing.
That's why it's
we
great to
got
be a kid.
actively excited about some of those options.
Hey, the square pizza,
oh yeah,
that was
incredible.
today I wouldn't even give it a passing glance. You thought, man, Fridays were the bomb. And you got chocolate milk as well.
Oh, I wasn't a big chocolate milk guy.
Fridays were a big deal at St. Pius X.
The square pizza though. I'll get down with the square pizza.
I think
Even the fish was great too.
it seemed to be a little processed. We didn't catch it locally.
I'll say I think we did fish sticks. I don't know that we were getting
Oh, we got the square.
Everything
was a
the-
square.
like
I
the
was thinking
fillet.
sticks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
think
lunch-
we
the-
did sticks.
The lunch lady would make and find stuff that fit exactly into how the tray was diagrammed. So you had the big square.
Sure, yeah.
So the fish fit into that. The pizza fit into that.
I remember the pizza. Yeah, the rectangle pizza. I don't think we had rectangle fish. I think we had fish sticks.
Okay. Well, you were a little bougie.
Well, listen, you're the one going to private Catholic school over there. I was just going over to poor old Millard.
I don't think it was private. I think anybody that wanted to go to St. Pius could. You just
Oh.
had to come up with some cash
I mean, that's kind of the definition of private school.
and
right here.
own corduroys
Well,
and a collared shirt. And you could go to St. Pius X. At least that's what I thought.
was corduroys like the uniform? Was that,
Keep you warm.
or was that just what everybody wore?
Well, I think everybody wore it. So if you were first through fifth grade, you wore khaki pants.
Okay.
If you were 6, 7, and 8, you got to wear blue pants.
Okay.
And so the girls who had to wear a uniform, their uniform was different first through 5. And then when you got to 6, 7, 8, it was a different, I think theirs was blue as well.
Okay.
Like it was, younger was like a combination of white, black, and green.
All right. But people went corduroy a lot.
I mean, for the Husky fellas, yeah. It was the go-to pant.
When I was in middle school, corduroys weirdly became like a very popular, like it was a fashion choice. It was a very strange time in the late 90s in
Oh,
Omaha,
yeah.
Nebraska.
I had a pair.
It
of
was like a
pants.
thing.
I was in high school then. Yeah.
Yeah, corduroys
Okay.
were like a thing, and
They
it
were
was
comfortable.
They were pretty comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you were like out on the playground, I mean, you could slide and they would go a ways.
You had to be careful though, because if you were a bigger guy, there was some friction there, and to be careful with the corduroys.
Yeah, I never started a fire. We're back with more after this.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown near 149th along Industrial Road and along 204th. Be prepared for a little bit of slowdown near Harrison and Q Street, and northbound along the JFK. Be prepared for some significant delays near 25th and Q Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More.
Hi, I'm Mark Evans, owner of Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More. Join us in supporting Food Bank for the Heartland. Right now, if you donate 5 cans of food, you can get a furnace safety inspection and cleaning for only $55. Request service at justcallburton.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. Hurry, just 5 days left. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Club with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Just 5 days left. Go to GenesisHealthClubs.com before Halloween and get no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. 5 days left. This offer will not extend.
Ew. Stuck in a cycle of rewashing your clothes? Ugh. Because you can't remove tough laundry odor? Ugh. When detergent by itself can't cut it, use new Downy Rinse and Refresh. With a breakthrough odor-removing formula, it removes odors in 1 wash, better than the leading value detergent in 3 washes, keeping all your laundry fresh. Now you can break the cycle of rewashing with Downy Rinse and Refresh.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, coming up in the next hour, Casey Thompson has to be the best player on the field on Saturday. He's going to go against a defense that is number 3 in the country in stop rate. They get you off the board 81.3% of the time. They give up 0.83 points per drive. The Big Ten is really good defensively. Nebraska will face 2 of the top 3 in the stop rate before the year is over. Number 1 being Michigan.
I have a question for you.
Well, save that.
Okay.
Greg tweets in as we finish up this hour. My first teaching job was in Eustis, Nebraska. Every Friday for lunch was pizza from scratch sausage and sauerkraut.
Okay, so
Lunch
Greg,
lady out into rectangle pieces. The bomb.
I have a question. Where is the sauerkraut in this equation? Is it on the pizza?
I believe it'd be on the pizza.
Is it on the side?
No,
is it just like a pile of sauerkraut?
No, the kids, you can't put sauerkraut on the side and expect them to eat it. You put it on the pizza. You try and
Sneak it in there?
Yeah, you try and trick them.
Is sauerkraut on pizza a thing people do?
Apparently, it was there.
No, but like a real thing, not a lunch lady thing. Okay. I didn't know if that was like a weird rural Nebraska thing I wasn't aware of, where they're like, yeah, let's just throw some sauerkraut on a pizza, because that's horrifying.
About as horrifying as my school giving you peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches.
Oh, how are you here?
Was there like rampant pot smoking or something that
peanut butter and mayonnaise?
Yep. We'd have peanut butter and butter sandwiches, and we'd have peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches.
Did you sue for child abuse?
Well, like when you're younger, you'll like kind of eat anything, and then you'll question it. But yeah, that didn't last very long.
That's horrifying.
Because I think they saw a lot of kids throw away the sandwiches.
I would
wonder why.
Well, so this is what you learn later. Because they had an abundance of leftover mayonnaise.
Sure.
They wanted to use up the mayonnaise instead of throwing it out before it went bad. So they forced it upon the kids.
Here's a wild idea.
Making peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches.
Don't put peanut butter with the mayonnaise.
I know.
Use it for something else.
I know. It was basically lunch lady was committing child abuse to 350 kids.
Oh,
they won't know the difference.
I'm so sorry.
But it formed me later in life that I would never eat it. So there, I learned something.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I only did it once.
Oh man,
This has been an interesting hour.
I would
Hey.
have like flipped lunch tables.
Back then, I would eat anything.
Yeah,
that was one that I balked on.
You're like, no, sir, not for me.
Just left a bad taste.
Well, no kidding. No kidding.
Yeah, we'd have,
Peanut butter and mayonnaise had a weird aftertaste.
Then they would put peanut butter and butter together.
I mean, that's better, not a lot better.
Again, I think we were tricked because they had an oversupply of things, and so they just dump them on the kids. So they just like try and invent things to get rid of ingredients.
Yeah, but
poorly managed mess hall there at St. Pius X.
They may not have been.
Come on, Father. Who was the father? Father Art.
It doesn't sound like they were hiring the best culinary professionals over there.
Art McCann. Shout out to the priest when I was a kid.
Art McCann make me eat that sandwich.
I don't know how much he had. He didn't, but he oversaw the school. Him and Sister John Agnes.
May not have been. Sister John?
Sister John Agnes.
Interesting.
Mean lady.
Man, so much for an ordinary Wednesday. I love it.
I know she was. I mean, come on.
Isn't that like the cliche though? Is like the sister that runs the Catholic school super mean?
She was super mean.
Yeah.
She hated my guts. Okay.
Was it a you thing or was it like an everybody thing?
Oh, I think she hated everybody. But then when you were done and you were like got out of there after 8th grade, she was nice to you. And then you'd see her like out.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, ooh.
See your teachers in the wild.
Where's the pantsuit? Hour 2 next.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
Connie Mack only won 9 pennants in his 55 years as a manager. What a bum.
Could you imagine sports radio in the time of Connie Mack? Boy, I tell you, this Connie Mack guy just can't get it done. Can't win the big one. Can't get over the hump. Only 5 World Series. Connie Mack, more like Connie Hack, am I right?
That's exactly how they talked.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny start to Wednesday, but becoming mainly cloudy by the afternoon. Slight chance of a shower late, mainly north of the metro, with highs around 60. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown near 149th along Industrial Road and along 204th. Be prepared for a little bit of slowdown near Harrison and Q Street, and northbound along the JFK. Be prepared for some significant delays near 25th and Q Street. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Don't get caught in the cold. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner today. Now is the time to have Nanfito Heating and Cooling get your furnace in top shape. Nanfito services all brands of furnaces. Call today, 402-515-5050.
Marvin Windows has long been known for their lasting value and beauty. Carp's Complete Home Exteriors is Omaha's first authorized Marvin Windows replacement contractor. For a free estimate, call Carp's Complete Home Exteriors or visit carpsomaha.com.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power and savings with style. Not to mention top tech to help keep you connected. Plush premium interiors, and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years, with a hybrid or electric vehicle built for every driver. Seriously, dear gas prices? Do you really think you could stand in our way? Think again. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers. Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Corwin Toyota of Bellevue.
Bill Jones.
And Olivia.
Here for Jones Bros Cupcakes. Have you tried our new chimney cones yet, Olivia?
They are so yummy.
Chimney cones are stacked on a sugar-coated croissant cone with gelato. We have flavors like birthday cake, strawberries and cream, s'mores, salted caramel, and more.
I love the birthday cake chimney cone topped with a mini cupcake. So good.
Come see us at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village.
We appreciate your support.
Want to know the difference between 42 Degrees and our competition? Our customers. With over 1,200 5-star reviews, we are proud to say that our customer service is the best in town. Curious to know what our customers rate most every time? It's our knowledge of the products and how friendly and professional our sales staff is. Stop in, talk to our staff, and see for yourself why 42 Degrees is the source. Buy your mom's house.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha Metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issue stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, offers exterior solutions that help you protect your #1 investment. Whether it's roofing and siding or windows and doors, they're committed to excellence, quality, and outstanding customer service in every step of the process. When it's time to protect the exterior of your home, your choice is simple. Turn to who the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Check them out online and schedule a free estimate today. J-Tech Construction, the official exterior experts of the Huskers.
The Zone Hotline is powered by Los Hills Harley-Davidson, your home in the hills.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone.
All right, last time Nebraska beat a ranked team was at home against Oregon. Long time ago. That's 19 straight that they've lost against ranked teams. But Illinois, who people are warning them against this being a trap game. God, how things have changed. They come in number 17. Robert Rosenthal will join us coming up at 8:30 with his thoughts on the Fighting Illini, where they are. Tommy DeVito against Casey Thompson. Boy, change of addresses for a lot of quarterbacks, and they look different from the DeVito that was on the East Coast. Tommy DeVito completing about 70% of his passes in comparison. Casey Thompson, 64%. But on Saturday, my opinion to win, Casey Thompson's going to have to be the best player on the field against that defense and against his own offense.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a moment. But Arthur has I believe, a question about our discussion of lunches. Hello, Arthur.
Hey, Gary Sharp, Mr. Sharp.
Hey, Arthur, how are you?
Good. I gotta respect. Talk very nice, like son of my mother. Your subject of St. Pius. That's where did you go? Church?
Well, that's where I went to grade school. It's in Urbandale.
Yeah. Oh, St. Pius. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, not the St. Pius here in
Lincoln.
Here in in Lincoln or in Omaha.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I have spoken at the St. Pius X athletic banquet. Okay.
On 69th in
Yes.
Rondo?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Good
Okay.
people over there.
That's where my mom and dad and me went
Okay.
to church.
All right.
And all that. And so Sister Rose, I thought maybe that's where you went.
I do not know Sister Rose. It appears to be a beautiful church. Is Sister Rose she a good nun, bad nun?
Good nun.
Okay.
Yeah, she always, before my mom passed on, she used to come and visit my mom at the house. You know,
very nice of
so,
her.
so yeah. And before, as a veteran, she requests me to go eat lunch at St. Pius with my uniform, and they do have good cooks and good pizza. You know.
All right.
You know.
All right.
Okay. That's I'd probably you're Catholic, Gary Sharp, and your mother raised you. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you go. God bless.
Hey, thank you, Arthur. Yes, was raised in a Catholic household.
Not the Omaha St. Pius though. The other one.
No, or
Urbandale.
Pius X
in Lincoln.
Yeah,
That's where my head goes on.
We
that,
were
but
the St. Pius X Bruins.
The Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's the one in Lincoln? What are they?
Thunderbolts.
That's right. Not Bruins.
So I'm very proud of myself that I remember my grade school nickname.
We were the Wildcats, Montclair.
Well, we were real creative and come up with nicknames.
I still remember
the
the song. We
You
had
had
a
a song?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
How did you have a song?
Well, I remember part of the song. I don't know. I think our music teacher just wrote it.
We had Where's Thumpkin?
I barely remember my high school fight song.
Oh, I don't remember my high school fight song at all. I think we just like co-opted one of the college ones, right? Like that's what most high schools do.
I'm probably on Wisconsin.
We ripped off Notre Dame. A lot of schools, on Wisconsin.
It might have been
ours was like original.
Oh, I think ours was Michigan. I think we did Hail to the Mustangs.
That's Millard North's fight song?
I think so.
Hail to the Mustangs, hail to the blue.
I
and
think
the
so.
gray.
I might be
Hail to Fred Petito.
I think the only time I remember them playing it was the day of the state title football game. They like marched through the halls.
Did you not go to any pep rally? Did you guys have pep rallies at Millard North?
We didn't have a lot of. I mean, we had a couple, not a ton. I think like homecoming, we did a pep rally. We didn't do like a weekly one. I don't think.
Not like for a big football game.
Not really. I don't think. I don't know. It's been a while now, Gary. I'm getting old.
Well, there's just certain things you remember in life.
Yeah, I remember.
Mine was the pep rally, only because I got out of Mrs. Leventhal's Spanish class.
I remember marching through the hallways with the marching band, which I thought was a little was aggressive.
Yeah, we had ours every Friday, and the best part is it would eat up most of first period. So I get what you're saying, Gary.
We didn't have anything like that. The ones that I remember were like after school, so you had to like choose to go on your own time, not as part of the like, hey, get out of the school day.
The football coach ran the school, so that was
that helps. That helps.
Yeah. You know, if you were a football player, you never had to go to gym class because you went and watched film.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I was like the third string right guard, and I got to go watch film. What am I watching film for? Not a chance I'll get into the game unless we're getting crushed or we're crushing some other team.
Listen, you got to be ready for those reps.
I got a lot of reps.
On which end? Getting crushed or crushing?
Our first team defense, I thought was pretty good. All right, there's Rob Hamp, Gary, Jimmy here as well. So Illinois brings a defense that is as advertised. They went through the Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, and allowed less than 14 points to all three of those teams. They sacked the quarterback. They stopped the run. They take the ball away. They have 12 interceptions. So with all that said, and I don't know, and maybe this is just my observation.
Okay.
Sometimes, you don't want to make it so we've moved away from a quarterback-centric offense this year in Nebraska, which is wise, and it just would not work this year. Plus, you haven't had a dynamic wide receiver like you do in Trey Palmer for about 3 or 4 years.
At least, yeah.
So he's the weapon to use, and you've got an offensive coordinator who loves to throw the football and is throwing it more. The first couple of weeks was about 51% pass.
Pretty close.
Now we're up
Pretty
to
50-50.
about 55% pass now. And, you run and then pass and then let's go deep. And let's hope the ball is caught and it's a first down.
Let's
so
hope it's caught by our team.
So this is, I'm looking at Casey Thompson, and sometimes you want to say, hey, he's got to be the best player on the field. Well, he's the quarterback, okay? He can be a difference maker. In this game, I think he has to, because I think possessions will be limited. I mean, what is Nebraska going to have? 9, 10 possessions? You got Illinois. This is the kind of game, we talked about it yesterday, where they're going to have 13, 14 play drives. They're going to have 35 minutes in time of possession. It seems like they're on the field the whole time.
Yes.
They may only lead by a touchdown, but it's going to feel like it's 2. So every time you touch the football on Saturday, you have to make something happen. You have to make something out of your possessions. You can't be going 3 and out, and Brian Buschini is running out on the field all the time. So, yes, it's nice to have Trey Palmer. It's nice to talk about we've had a week off, and maybe we found a way to get Anthony Grant more yards rushing the ball. Maybe we can get him some help. Maybe Yant plays a little bit more. Maybe Ramir is a changeup. But it still all comes back to me is that Casey Thompson's going to be put in a situation where this could be a game where he gets killed.
Yeah.
Okay. This could be a game that knocks him out because they don't just sack the quarterback. They usually are in the quarterback's face, and they're usually hitting the quarterback, whether it comes down as a sack or not.
Frequently,
So
yes.
there's a lot of parts that have to help Casey Thompson. He's got to be good with his communication with his offensive line so everybody knows who they're blocking. I mean, he's going to have to be at the top of his game. He's going to have recognition. He's going to have to relay the message on blocking schemes. He's going to have to not hold on to the football. He's going to have to live for another down. Because I think this is what will happen, is they have a defensive coordinator who, I mean, he's got a lot of weapons to use on that side of the ball. And I think they will do a lot of times where they bait Casey Thompson. Sometimes Casey likes to throw into tight windows, maybe thinking that his big boy arm is a little bit bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
And so he'll take some chances. Now, when they pay off, you could have a guy hit his head on the goalpost. But I think in this case, they will bait him into some stuff to show him some things that are not necessarily there, and he'll let it rip, and the next thing you know, it's a pick or it's a pass breakup. So he's got to be the best player on the field. He's got to make plays. Will he make plays with his legs? I think there will be 2 or 3 in this game where he has an opportunity to make plays with his legs. But it's going to be his head that will be the biggest key of live for another down, or if you see something, get rid of it. Go at it. Attack that. Be smart. You're picking up your reading defenses. Like his preparation for this game and just the recognition of what Illinois is going to do with an odd man front and some of the other things that they'll throw at him, I think will be huge for Nebraska's success. But he's got to make on his own. And he would get credit for, Trey Palmer making a couple of big plays on passes. I will put it at 6 to 7 big plays where you go, whoa, if Nebraska's to have a chance to win on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up...
And I'm not afraid to say the quarterback, Casey Thompson needs to be the best player on the field on Saturday for Nebraska to have a chance in this game. And I'm not afraid to say that. Sometimes I think we are, unless it was Adrian Martinez.
Yeah,
and you're just like, you just assumed, God, Nebraska's really got nothing else. Adrian's got to be the best player. In this case, I'm pretty confident that QB1, number 11, has to be the best player for Nebraska.
Well, especially, you mentioned Adrian, especially the way the offense was designed. It was basically designed so that he always had to be the best player on the field, right? So we're in a little bit different situation now, but you're right. He's got to, I think, first and foremost, avoid those couple throws a game where you're just like, oh no, whether it's a missed wide open guy for a touchdown, he has to hit those, whether it's the interceptions that maybe he doesn't see a guy. You mentioned them maybe trying to trick him a little bit. I think he's going to have opportunities against Illinois because they do put their defensive backs on an island quite a bit, especially because they like to get after the quarterback so much with their pass rush. Sometimes they will not sacrifice, but they will count on getting to the quarterback over putting extra guys in coverage. And so that will give him opportunities to make plays. Now, if he can stay upright long enough to make a play, that's going to be a big question here. But you mentioned the time of possession. If Illinois only has 35 minutes of possession, I might be surprised. And I would actually think that's a very good thing for Nebraska, because it feels a lot like Illinois could be pushing that 40-minute mark time of possession, the way they play and the way Nebraska is probably going to have to try and score. The thing to me for Casey Thompson about being the best player on the field is being able to put drives together with his arm, not just hit the big plays. Because if he can actually get, I'm not asking him to get like a 13, 14 play drive, but if he can do a 5 or 6 play drive, 7 or 8 play drive, where you're taking 4 or 5 minutes off the clock instead of 90 seconds, that I think will be a big factor for Nebraska, because their defense, if they're just on the field for 40 minutes, that's not going to work.
See, and this is the kind of game that if everybody's going to say, well, you got to run the ball. Well, how are you going to run the ball? But having a lead would help out a lot, because I think not having a lead in this game, when it will feel like you're down by a touchdown and a field goal, but yet it feels a lot more because of who you're playing and what they like to do, and they just squeeze the heck out of the clock in a game, is Whipple gets a little itchy.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you get a little nervous, right? You don't want to fall behind too much.
When they have a lead, what does he do? Let's run the football. Let's eat up the clock. I mean, Nebraska's 108th in the country in time of possession.
That's not good.
There's 131 that play
131,
Division
133, something like that. Here's the other thing, though, is time of possession doesn't have to just be running the football.
And I'm not all in on like time of possession is such an important stat, but in this case, when you have a team that is coming off a game in which they had 40 plus minutes of time of possession in Illinois against Minnesota, or you had Purdue running 101 plays
and 42 minutes of possession there. Like, there is a point where it matters. It's not the be all end all. When it's like 32-28, who cares? When it's 42-17, 42-18, that's a big problem. When you're running twice as many plays as your opponent's running twice as many plays as you are, that's a big problem. To me, I'm not super confident that the running game's going to be able to get going. What I would like to see is Casey Thompson be able to make some of these shorter and intermediate passes to keep control of the ball. There's more than one way to keep control of the ball. Yes, running is the easiest, maybe the best way to keep control of the ball, but if you can get anything going in your shorter intermediate passing game, that can provide the same type of structure to your offense that running can. That's a thing that's been missing from Nebraska too. It's not just the running game. It's really anything outside of the home run ball has been missing. My question that I was going to ask you earlier, though, I think we all agree this is a very good Illinois defense, right? They haven't really faced a dynamic offense yet. So some of their numbers might be a little skewed in that direction, is my point. I mean, you faced a Iowa team that can't score. You faced a struggling Minnesota team. They lost to Indiana. That's the only time all year they've given up more than 14 points is the loss to Indiana. But I mean, outside of that, you're looking at Chattanooga, you're looking at Wyoming. You're not facing a bunch of dynamic offenses. Now it picks up for them a little bit. They've got Nebraska, who, for whatever their weaknesses, can score the ball a little bit. You've got Purdue and Michigan coming up for them later. So we'll see how good they are on defense. My thought is they might be a little more vulnerable than it seems by the numbers. Not saying they're a bad defense, not saying they're going to give up 50 points to Nebraska, but there might be more opportunities for Nebraska to take advantage of that defense than it would appear on paper.
So they're probably their best quarterback that they have faced so far is Brennan Armstrong of Virginia. And what do they do to him? They confused the heck out of him and they beat him up. They sacked him 5 times. He threw 2 picks.
Yes.
Now, Armstrong and Virginia haven't had a great
He's struggling
season
a lot this year in general. Yeah.
But they've gone through the Mertz, the Petrus. They knocked Tanner Morgan out of the game. So I'm going back to September when I think he's the best quarterback that they've gone against. And he was 13 of 32 on that day. But they sped him up and they knocked him off his spot.
Yes.
And they sacked him. And, Casey also, if you follow along, I mean, everybody knows that on the script, Nebraska looks really, really good. And Casey Thompson is humming. I mean, first quarter, he's throwing about 73% completion rate.
Yeah.
Yards per completion, yards per attempt are pretty good.
Yeah.
and then it slowly starts to go down after that. So it's a quick start, and then the part of Casey being the best player on the field, you get off to a quick start and you maybe grab a lead. What does that do to Whipple?
Yeah.
Instead of getting greedy and going, man, look, we were pretty good. We threw the ball around a little bit. Then you say, you know what? Let's try and run the ball, and now let's squeeze the clock on this game with a lead. Because I think when they fall behind, he gets a little antsy, and we got to make it up quick.
Well, and
because you also aren't real comfortable about the other side of the ball,
right?
And then it turns into, hey, let's play in a track meet.
Well, and the
which
other
happened again 2 weeks ago.
The other thing that Illinois hasn't really had to deal with is coming back from big deficits. Let's say Nebraska gets up a score or 2 scores, something crazy happens, right? Illinois' offense isn't super dynamic. They've got Chase Brown, who's incredible, but how do you feel about putting the game in Tommy DeVito's hands? You probably feel better about that than it being in Chase Brown's hands, right? You probably feel better about putting the game on Tommy DeVito's shoulders. So not only does it maybe put Whipple at ease a little bit to be playing and play calling with a lead, it also gives a little bit of pressure on Illinois to maybe get them sped up in a way that they're not used to either.
Yeah, they've outscored their opponents 55-19 in the first quarter. Where it gets scary is what they do defensively in the fourth quarter. They played 7 games this year. They've given up 7 points in the fourth quarter.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Here is Andrew on 1620 The Zone. Good morning, Andrew.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Andrew.
I have 2 questions. One, we haven't seen a lot of misdirection draws, even screens. If the defensive line is just blowing through our offensive line, wouldn't that offset that and kind of put them back on their feet?
It would.
And then
go ahead.
Then the other question is, not to put the cart in front of the horse, but let's say Mickey Joseph would get the head coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming from a position coach to an intern head coach. How hard would it be for him to get coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinators, without himself being one, without him kind of skipping that jump? Skipping that.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think, in turn, are you saying, Andrew, to make the jump to, hey, we only, coordinators are the ones that are promoted to head coach. It's tough to go from a position coach to a coordinator. That's true. There's a lot of in the hiring process, you look at coordinators, but it's not unprecedented because now we'd be talking about going from an interim head coach to having the interim taken off. I think, what, Mickey is able to sell a vision. I mean, look what he's done to the guys that are currently in the program about the vision and the message. I think if he was in a role where he got to hire some coordinators, I wouldn't be worried because I think he'd have a nice treasure chest to go after him.
I think he's got a good network.
But I think he also would be able to sell the message of what he wanted and what he wanted in the offense. And I don't necessarily think that this offense is completely what he would have as the head coach. But I wouldn't be worried about him going and put together a staff of coordinators.
Okay, and why do you think they're not running more draws and counters and
they don't
screens?
Well, the screen game has been off for about 20 years around here. Whoever the new staff is next year, I'd take them down to Kansas City and I'd sit down with Andy Reid in the offseason and say, teach us how to run a screen, design a screen. It just comes down to pure trust that thing's going to get blown up. And instead of getting back to the line of scrimmage, you're now 3 or 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But I'm with you. A little misdirection to keep Illinois on their toes would be nice. But God, the next time Nebraska completes a clean screen pass might be the first time in a while.
We should put that on a board.
Andrew, thanks for the call. Sundays I get to watch this great screen game.
Yeah. You converted like a 3rd and 20 on one of those screens on Sunday, which I didn't love.
The honest truth about the screen is when it works, it's great. We all fall in love with it.
Beautiful.
But God, there's so many things have to happen for it to work.
Well,
then you have to also, when you have the play sheet in front of your face and you see the section that says screens, you have to be comfortable with running that so it doesn't get blown up. And I just don't get the level of trust in, hey, we can properly execute this with the linemen with the running back, and then just the deft touch to get the
Yes.
ball into the hands of the running back and take off. So, the definition of the successful screen is that tunnel screen now
Yeah.
that everybody is running.
Yeah, the tunnel screen, they kind of do like a wide receiver jailbreak screen that I like a lot. But yeah, you have to have a lot of trust to run a traditional screen. You have to have a lot of trust in your offensive linemen that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And you have to have a quarterback that you trust to have any sort of touch on the ball, which is not something Nebraska's had a lot of recently. Casey Thompson's probably better than the last couple guys, but we saw a lot with Adrian Martinez. He struggled with some touch on the ball. We saw it with, Tommy Armstrong, Caleb Martinez. Go as far back as you want. It's been a while. It's probably been Joe Gans is the last time you felt really good about a guy just putting touch on a ball. We're going back a ways here now. So yes, ideally that would be how you would attack a overly aggressive defensive line, is screens and draws and mixed direction. The problem is Nebraska has enough trouble with the basics on their offensive line, and they've put together so many different permutations of that offensive line with different personnel and things too, that it's not like they would have been able to rep a lot of these things throughout the season together anyway. That's asking a lot for a unit that hasn't played a ton together and certainly hasn't played a ton well together.
Agree. Brent Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star, Nebraska volleyball beat writer tonight. Nebraska and Wisconsin, huge match, 1-5, coming up at 8:00 at the Fieldhouse in Madison. Last year, the national championship, Wisconsin beat Nebraska in a thriller. Nebraska's lost 8 straight to Wisconsin. That is of the in real time resume of John Cook right now. That is really the only blemish.
Yep,
is haven't been able to get over the hump against Wisconsin, which is on a roll, and now they've risen to second in the Big Ten. So Brent will join us coming up at 8. Robert Rosenthal to talk about the resurgence that's going on in Champaign that has nothing to do with Brad Underwood.
They like their Brad Underwood over there too, though.
They love Brad Underwood.
They do.
And he's got look at the dynamics of the two main men's coaches there, Bielema and Underwood.
They're both pretty big personalities.
You look around the country, there's a lot of correlation between the personality of the football coach and the personality of the basketball coach. Are they the same? I mean, because more than likely they were hired by the same person.
Yeah, usually.
Or are they drastically different?
That makes sense.
And the results are drastically different.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. They're drastically different, but the results are exactly the same.
That's an interesting, I hadn't really thought about it in those terms. I mean, we saw it here at Nebraska for sure, where, Fred and Scott were both kind of, they were like the hometown hero types, kind of quieter personalities, both just disastrous in terms of their actual results. That's an interesting, I hadn't really thought about it that way.
But Underwood and Bielema are kind of similar.
Yeah, they are. Well, and they love their, was it Josh Whitman out there in the AD in Illinois? They love him.
Mm-hmm.
They think he walks on water, which you hire a couple coaches like that, it goes a long way to your reputation.
At a so-called basketball school, you'll love the AD if football has success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me direct you to Lawrence, Kansas. All right.
Exactly what I thought.
7:39. That's coming up in the next hour. There's Ravi, Jimmy as well. I'm Gary on. Gary and Friends, 1620 The Zone. Hey, our friends over at Woodhouse Buick GMC, they can get you behind the wheel of a truck. That's right. How about the CR 1500? So no matter what you have upcoming, whether it be for business or for personal use, they can find you a premium and capable GMC truck that is perfect for you. Something that'll make a statement, something that actually does what you need it to do, towing capacity, to get you through the winter, or you like a comfortable truck that just doesn't scream, this is a pickup. It's something that has luxury. And that's what the CR 1500 is, with the power and also the top-notch technology, large touchscreens in the interior, leather interior, and it doesn't ride like a truck. It is nice and smooth. Check it out today. Take it for a test drive. I have. I enjoyed it. And you will see the wide selection of CR 1500s that are available, make and color and all of that, along with the other trucks at 119th and I. Climate-controlled indoor showroom, so you don't have to worry about the conditions, and lots of inventory for you to peruse. You can also peruse it online where they have the same inventory and the same knowledgeable sales staff that will take care of you at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC, we are professional grade.
1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's four-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
With almost everything in life, you have choices. You can pick a lot, a little, or somewhere in the middle. So shouldn't there be an internet plan that's just as clever? One that allows you to add TV or home automation whenever. That's why Cox now offers flexible internet plans, giving you all the services you desire at nothing you don't require. Additional services can be added at then current regular rates. All services subject to residential customer service agreement and acceptable use policy found at cox.com/policies. Restrictions apply.
Hey friends, Kent Pavelka here, back with John Higgins and the rooferees at the Weather Guard showroom. I imagine there are a lot of people out there with really bad roofs waiting for the magic moment. When's the magic moment?
Depends on what type of roof you have. It depends on how old your roof is. I have a customer right now talking about waiting for that hailstorm. Now it's leaking. There's a time where you can't wait for that hailstorm forever.
When it comes time to replace your roof, your gutters, and siding, there's only one call to make. The rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
We are well underway with the NFL season, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. It's that easy. Just sign up with promo code HAPPER. There's so many different options for you guys when you look at the FanDuel sportsbook. You can go inside the game. You can take the money line and the spread, or take the individual player props. We like some of the season-long ones that we've been talking to you about. Endless options over at the FanDuel Sportsbook, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code HAPPER for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code HAPPER, HAPPER. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. Hurry, just 5 days left. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Club with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Just 5 days left. Go to GenesisHealthClubs.com before Halloween and get no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. 5 days left. This offer will not extend.
1620 The Zone.
All right, joining us a little bit later will be Scott Shanley. Scoring is down in the NFL. Maybe more meh games. You can't sugarcoat it. The quality of football in the NFL has not been like it's been in the past. Even though you have a Mahomes and Allen that are on a record-setting pace, an unbelievable record-setting pace for Mahomes and Allen, and again, in a season where scoring is down.
Yeah, I think you've got
Scott Chandler will join us coming up at 9.
I think you've got at most, I did this a couple weeks ago, and I think I included Brady and Rodgers, which I'm not sure I would now. I think you've got at most 8 good QBs, which will drive scoring down pretty quickly.
All right, so you are including or taking out the old guys?
The 8 includes the old guys. So if you want to take those guys out, we're down to 6, and that includes Herbert.
Old guys have had a bad year.
Not a good start.
Ryan, Wilson, Rodgers, Brady.
Yeah, so Ryan and Wilson were not in the 8 to begin with, but Brady and Rodgers were. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. Like, people have written off Tom Brady for like every year at some point for the last decade. Not going to be that guy. We're getting pretty close to its time. We're almost halfway through the season.
So your confidence level is better that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will turn it around, or Brady and the Bucs will turn it around. Tom Brady looks 45 with a beat-up offensive line and really no threat of a downfield passing game.
And he looks like weirdly skinny. Like he doesn't like physically, he looks different.
He looks 45.
Like I don't know what TB12 did to him. I don't know if he had him do like a cleanse or something. He looks weird.
You wanna lose weight? Have a little stress in your life. Some of us eat, some of us don't.
So I guess I would say I've got more faith in Rodgers returning to form at some point this season than I do Brady.
I mean, I'm not I don't know why I haven't given up on the Packers, because like oddly I think that they will make their game against the Bills like competitive. They're now a 10.5 point underdog. I don't think they'll win, but I don't think they'll get blown out. But this is the first time you've seen cracks of in season since their relationship began, where Rodgers and LaFleur might not be on the same page.
Yeah.
And, Rodgers is talking about mental things with players and mistakes and cutting reps. And maybe with a different team on that side, on the offensive side of the ball, it would work. But now he's got some young wide receivers that are probably like, he's talking about me, talking about me.
Yeah.
But I still, I think the Packers will find a way. But man, if you were talking about winning a division, though, you might go more to the Bucs because of the NFC South is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, just the competition.
2, 3, and 4 teams and 2, 2, and 5 teams.
But I'm talking less about what their teams accomplish and just more watching them play the position. I think I still have more confidence in Rodgers. Brady would have to have a remarkable turnaround at this point. And at age 45, I mean, the odds have been stacked against him for a while now, but it hasn't really fallen off like this. To recover at this age, what he looks like physically seems incredibly unlikely, whereas Rodgers still kind of looks like Aaron Rodgers, even though he's not playing like Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's too abstract. I'm reaching at things, but that's what it feels like.
And in the throes of the last 4 or 5. But Brady does have the 6th most passing yards.
He does
in the NFL. So, and he's only thrown 1 pick.
The numbers aren't terrible.
It's an offense that's not scoring points like it has in the past.
But when you watch him, it doesn't look right.
And the Jets fans are going, I could have told you that hiring Todd Bowles as your head coach.
Well, I thought they probably had more confidence in Byron Leftwich as your offensive coordinator, because he was pretty well regarded under Bruce Arians, and people thought he might get a head coaching job soon, things like that. But I think that's probably the bigger surprise here, is that the offense has,
if they can hang on, they may get some reinforcements.
They need some guys back.
That offensive line got shredded with injuries. They may get some reinforcements, but they're the Ravens tomorrow night? Yeah, so they got to keep their head above water, but maybe the division is just garbage, and they at least get a home game out of it and winning a division.
That's the NFC in general, right? The 49ers are 3-4, and I think we both think they still have a pretty good shot to win the West.
Wait a minute. You're not in on the Giants? The Giants, who are 6-1 and don't have a receiver on the roster that has more than 200 yards receiving and are an underdog at Seattle?
It feels like maybe there's some smoke and mirrors happening there. Listen, they're playing hard. It seems like they're bought into the Coach Daboll thing. Like, that's great. Daniel Jones is still their quarterback, last time I checked, and it doesn't look sustainable, if I had to guess. But in general, the NFC is just a dumpster fire. You have a couple nice teams in the NFC East. Ironically, that might be the best division in the conference. But if you're in either the West or the South, you have to look at the landscape and be like, we're still in this thing. Everybody's terrible.
So just have Kansas City and Buffalo play a best of 7 in the playoffs and call it good.
Another part of the Daniel Jones thing and the Giants and Brian Dable, and I mean, guy can coach some football, is they've have all kinds of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have a 200-yard receiver this year on their roster. Nobody that's hit 200 yards yet. Daniel Jones is 67%. He's thrown for 1,200 yards in 7 games.
Yeah, that's not great.
And they're 6-1.
So
but they win close games.
They do.
And he doesn't turn it over. Like,
Which
he's not
is good.
fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson hasn't convinced me about anything, but at least Zach Wilson isn't turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Where, look what happened Monday night. Jones and Zappi, they turned the ball over.
Yeah.
What has Rodgers done? Rodgers has turned the ball over. I mean, if you're not going to be an elite quarterback, don't turn the football over.
Even
give yourself a chance and then win close games. And that's what the Giants are doing. I mean, Matt Ryan has over 2,000 yards passing. He's the 4th leading passer in the NFL right now, and he ain't going to play anymore in Indianapolis. I mean, unless Sam Ehlinger gets hurt.
Yeah.
But he's got 9 interceptions.
Well, that's
to
the thing.
turn the football over.
Is yards are pretty cheap to come by in the NFL. Like, if you're a fairly competent quarterback and can run an offense, like, yards are pretty cheap to come by. Like, I don't put a lot of stock in yards.
I don't know. Mahomes threw for 400 plus against the Niners. Those weren't cheap, I don't think.
No, not against the 49ers. They're not usually, although the 49ers defense has had some issues with injuries and things too. But in general, you can rack up a lot of yards and not be an incredible quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, Mahomes does not fall into that category. But you look at guys like either Matt Ryan or even Tom Brady is a good example of this year. He racks up a ton of yards. That's not a good offense right now. Whether it's because of injuries, whether it's because of his decline, whatever, team defenses tend to tighten up. Windows get a little smaller in the red zone. The yards from especially the 20 to the 20, like, you can rack up a pretty good amount of yards and not be that good as a quarterback. Now, it is really hard, I think, to be 6-1 when your quarterback isn't throwing for 200 yards a game in the Giants case. But, they're dancing through the raindrops there and making it work a little bit.
Would you like to guess who has the lowest yards per attempt as a quarterback in the NFL right now?
Ooh, yards per attempt.
I'll give you a hint. He's currently injured, so he's not starting.
Oh, currently injured? I don't know.
Carson Wentz is at 6.4.
Oh, that makes sense.
So just above them, talk about some of these guys don't belong in the same neighborhood. 6.5 yards per attempt. Davis Mills, Daniel Jones, and Herbert.
The Justin Herbert thing is actually kind of tough because people love him. Media, analysts, like, people love Justin Herbert. And then I watch Justin Herbert and I wish he was better. Almost every time I watch him, I wish he was better. And I don't really know how to reconcile those. Like, I get the skills are there, the talent, the athleticism, all of it's there, right? I just watch him and I felt this way at Oregon too. You just watch him and you're like, there's a couple things there. Like, I just wish he was a little bit better for what skills he has and the way people talk about him. He's always a little disappointing to me. And I don't know if that's just a me thing. I'm expecting too much from him, but I mean, the record would kind of reflect that he hasn't been what he needs to be either. And it's not all on him, obviously, but do you get that at all as AFC West?
The Chargers are the biggest tease in all of football.
Yeah. I just, when you're watching Justin Herbert, are you ever like, yep, I'm getting exactly as advertised?
There's probably 7-8 games a year that you look at him and go, man, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL.
Okay, that's fair.
And then you get moments like last Monday night or this past weekend where you go, what is wrong?
And then they end up 8-9.
Yeah.
For
all
the
that
way
talent.
he's talked about, there's just a lot of games where he's not that guy.
Some people thought they would win the West.
Some people picked him for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, they were a Super Bowl's kind of quote unquote sleeper this year. And I don't know how you get there when you haven't seen him be that guy for a full year. That's what happened. I mean, that's what happened at Oregon too. He would have these moments, these games even, where he was incredible. And people fall in love with the talent. But then there's just other games where it's like, I need you to be that guy all the time. That's the job. Like, I get it's asking a lot, but look around the league. That's the job. That's what we thought. That was my concern with Josh Allen, right? Is that he would never be game in, game out that guy, and he is.
Yep.
And Justin Herbert just isn't there. Like, is he? I don't know if we need to give him more time. It's been a couple years now. Usually it doesn't take.
He may need a new head coach.
That's fair.
And that's what I think is coming.
That's totally fair.
But for time being, I'm glad what the Chargers and the Broncos and the Raiders are doing with their quarterbacks. They can keep doing whatever they'd like.
This is Gary Sharp for Brandon Staley.
Well, no, now like I become an AFC West. I like openly root on Sundays for those three teams to lose.
Well, sure.
As you should.
That makes sense.
I mean, I pay a lot of attention to my own division because I want those teams to lose. Because remember, we've let down football in our division.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be the best division, the greatest division of all time. People forgot that Andy Reid is still in Kansas City, and maybe instead of spending money on Khalil Mack or Devontae Adams or whoever else, maybe spend money on a better coach.
Or maybe not waste $250 million on a washed quarterback. That might be
to ride.
That might have been a good option.
People forget, Bronco fans are very fortunate. They get 6 more years of Russell Wilson.
Lucky them.
I mean, it's going to be. Imagine what you're going to do in Denver for 6 years.
At least they have the Joker.
That's a disaster. That situation is a disaster.
Now, they will not have Nathaniel Hackett for 6 more years.
They might not have him for 6 more days. If they lose this week, there's like rumors that he's gone.
So he would be gone, and they're going to start. I mean, the crazy thing is they're going to have a fire sale.
Well, yeah, because they gotta.
I mean, they invested a lot of money.
Yeah.
Walmart just bought the team, and they're going to have a fire sale.
But you're still stuck with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fire sale all you want. He makes as much as like half the roster combined after him.
And again, you have a defense that keeps you in games.
That's
absolutely key. It's one of the best defenses in the NFL.
That's got to be the most frustrating part about this for Denver fans.
What if they had a bad defense?
Oh, it would be
over.
Hackett.
What-
Hackett would be done.
What if they had Derek Carr instead of Russell Wilson? Just swap them. Where are they?
They would have a winning record, and they would be near the top of the West,
right?
Because
with an average, what is largely considered an average quarterback.
No, but the decision making would be more what you need.
Yes,
you wouldn't have. I would take for granted, but I don't think Derek Carr is throwing into making throws or not seeing open wide receivers
because Derek Carr knows who he is.
No, well, I don't know. I mean, there's something completely wrong with Russell Wilson.
He's broken. He's totally broken.
But here's Russell Wilson. I think he started to lose the locker room, which
didn't take long.
Again, they're not getting rid of Russell Wilson, so they have to figure all.
They have to get rid of everyone else. Then, like that's the same thing that happened in Seattle. The defense turned against him, and they got rid of the defense.
Now that would be more than a fire sale, Robbie, if you got rid of 52 guys.
You have to pay everybody the minimum just to come under the cap with that Russell Wilson salary.
And then they would do a commercial, and Russell Wilson would walk into the middle of Mile High Stadium in the field, and he'd go, "Let's ride." And then
all by himself.
You look around, and there'd be nobody there.
Since Walmart bought him, are they going to like put up the smiley face guy and roll back the prices on all their players? Or
that's where my mind went.
I'll take me some Jerry Jeudy. Coming up next, Brent Wagner will join us again. Monster volleyball match in the Big Ten tonight, midway through the season. Nebraska and Wisconsin. We'll get Brent's thoughts on the halfway point for Nebraska when he joins us next. Also in the hour, we'll talk some Illinois football. Scott Shanley stops by, Brandon Vogel as well on a Hump Day edition on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone.
With some big-time events coming up, including the Luke Combs concert at the CHI Health Center right here in Omaha, October 28th and 29th. Be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. It's not all about sports. It's about shows, and it's also about finding the best tickets at ticketsforless.com. So whether you want to see the pageantry at Memorial Stadium on a Saturday, catch a game at Arrowhead Stadium, Tickets for Less is your source for the best tickets Also, without those crazy per ticket fees you'll pay on other sites, trust me, you'll keep going back to ticketsforless.com. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com.
1620, The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have one accident to report near 36th and Ames, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then along Dodge, be prepared for some significant delays from 144th all the way to 120th. And along westbound I-680, be prepared for some major delays from Pacific to Maple. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call John at 402-973-0613.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. It has been a great summer, but a new school year. The fall, crisp, cool weather will be upon us before you know it, and it is time for you to transition into crisp, clear vision. Who can help you do that? Of course, the fine folks at Kugler Vision, voted Best of Omaha, #1 LASIK provider in Omaha Magazine. They changed my life in 2018. They can change your life today. Visit their website, schedule a consultation, KuglerVision.com.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to MDWest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-341-8735 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-341-8735. That's 800-341-8735. What do you have to lose? Call 800-341-8735. Again, 800-341-8735.
Cubby's supports the PACE program with Raise Some Dough. For every large pizza sold at Cubby's in the Old Market, Cubby's gives $1 to the Police Athletic League, serving at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children with athletic and educational programs. PACE has over 5,800 program participants. The league reaches kids that would not normally be able to participate in athletics like soccer and baseball due to financial situations and family dynamics. PACE wants to give every kid the opportunity at athletics and a healthy and safe environment. If you'd like to support PACE too, go to paceomaha.org.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 6.99% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 6.99% APR to 21.49% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
Halftime brought to you by Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street, next to Cubby's. It's Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, we've kind of been waiting for this since last year in Columbus when Nebraska and Wisconsin meet again. In volleyball, Wisconsin looks a little bit different. 3 All-Americans have moved on. Nebraska looks a little bit different, except that both of these teams are near the top of the rankings. Nebraska's number 1, Wisconsin's number 5. Should be a lot of fun tonight. This is the BTN Showcase on Wednesday nights, and we welcome in Brent Wagner, covers Husker volleyball, among other things, for the Lincoln Journal-Star, and does a fabulous job. Good morning, Brent.
Good morning, guys.
How are you?
I'm good. Before I forget, I gotta tell you, I heard a segment this summer. I think it was a crossover with Happer where we did Omaha celebrity sightings. I think for like a half hour. And it was one of the most entertaining half hours of the summer. We talked a little Gaga. We had who else? Brian. What is it?
Windhorse. Yeah.
Windhorse.
Yes.
I think maybe you said Spieth played out at Omaha Country Club or something.
Yeah, so he was in town. He was in a friend's wedding. Yeah, so he played OCC.
I'd listen to like 30 minutes on that. Like, did he go low or did he like?
Oh no,
like
so
in the 90s like
no, so I think word kind of got out that he shot like a 61.
Oh my.
Yeah,
that'll do. That's not bad.
Yeah. I don't think he had any problem at OCC. Have you your best encounter with a celebrity, non-sports, of course?
Oh gosh, I honestly don't know right now. I'd have to think about that. When you do that segment again, hopefully next summer I can call in. I'll have something.
All right. So tonight is how big of a deal is tonight? I know that.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
I'll go way back. Harry Carey.
Oh,
I was like, I don't know, 10 or something, sitting outside of Wrigley, and he gets dropped off right out in front of the building and wanders in and got an autograph, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how
it's
did
the kind of sports, but
hey, Harry Carey. You know what? And I've been that same kid, Brent, because I knew where he got dropped off to walk. To walk in, and other people knew that, that's where he got dropped off. How did you go about asking him? Did you run up to him? Were you
there wasn't a big crowd, and I don't know that we knew. I think we might have just been standing there waiting to go in or something. But
nice.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I just went up to him. I think it was fairly normal.
Hey, how Nebraska's number 1, and I like that. It was Maddie Kubik yesterday. Said, "Oh, it's cool." The number 1 again after being preseason number 1. Wisconsin is number 5. Nebraska's rolling right along. In the grand scheme of December volleyball matters more. How big, in your opinion, is tonight with Nebraska on the road at Wisconsin against a program they've lost 8 straight matches to?
Oh, I mean, I think the biggest part is just that, this is they play 20 matches for the Big Ten season, and this is one of them where you say, this is, there's 5 matches probably in the league every year where you say that it's going to factor pretty big into who wins the Big Ten title. I guess Nebraska does get the benefit this year where Nebraska and Wisconsin will play twice. They'll also play again in the last week of the regular season. But I guess, Nebraska hasn't won a Big Ten title for 4 years or so. Wisconsin's won the last 3. And certainly this is the one where you gotta win. You probably have to win at least one of them against Wisconsin, I would say, to have a chance to win the Big Ten, even though Nebraska has a one match lead already. So I'd say that's the biggest part, and also the Nebraska's playing really well, better and more consistent than Wisconsin, I would say. Going into it, you'd probably say like, hey, they'd probably maybe they split the 2 matches, and so then you just assume that the home team would win those. But I don't know. Nebraska's playing really well, and I think they look a lot more comfortable in their system and more experienced players. So, and so that's the biggest part is the Big Ten, more so the Big Ten title implications than anything nationally yet.
Brent, when you look at the recent history against Wisconsin, is there something that you look at as a common thread in those losses, like, Wisconsin has Nebraska's number for this reason, or is it more coincidental and a changing dynamic every time for you?
Well, I just think it's mostly that Wisconsin's had, you know, 2 or 3 of the best players in the history of their program. They had Dana Redke, the middle blocker, who was the National Player of the Year, so she played 5 years. Her sitter, Sydney Hilley, was a first-team All-American. Played 3 or 4 of those years with her. They had an All-American libero last year. Just basically that they ran into the. I mean, Nebraska wasn't at all its best all those years, and then many of those matches were at the field house in Wisconsin, which is a really tough place to play. Nebraska had a pretty good team in 2019, I think, and they had to play up there in the Elite Eight and just got swept. Wisconsin had a really good team, and that's a tough place to play, especially when you start trailing early in the match. When you get in a hole, it's a tough place to come back, I would say.
Brent Wagner joining us here on 1620 The Zone. You can follow Brent on Twitter at LJS Sports Wagner. So with everything that's gone on this year, so the departures, changing of a system, battling some injuries, incorporating some new roles for veteran players and younger players. I mean, this almost seems like this is what John Cook does every year. How is this team number one in the country through all of that, where it would seem like there'd be a hiccup along the way? But they're not only on a win streak, Brent, but they are rolling people. I mean, they're sweeping, and then when they get a chance to close out first, second, third set, they put the hammer down. What is it about this group that they don't wilt? I mean, they haven't backed down and they haven't blinked outside of Stanford.
Oh, I think it definitely starts with the defense, the number 1 ranked defense in the nation, just the mentality they play with defense. And then I think they get a lot of momentum from that, and that can carry over into, transitioning into getting kills. I think kind of the consistent emergency of Whitney Longstein has been massive. She played a little bit last year, and she wasn't a consistent hitter, wasn't a great hitter. So her emergence and her consistency allows them to play this 2-setter rotation, which means they're really good both offensively and defensively at the net. You basically always got 3 top 20 national recruit All-American type players at the net coming at you, swinging or blocking. Maddie Kubik's just steadiness and leadership has been big. Obviously, Lexia Rodriguez being a great libero, and I don't know, just a real bond, a real team, and probably a little bit of wanting to get back to have a chance to win a national championship again.
Becca Alec, further along than you thought she would be?
Probably hadn't even thought about that a whole lot, just because you didn't know, when you thought Kayla Caffey was going to be here, you didn't know how much Becca Alec would play, but she was here in the spring. I think that really helped her a lot. She's got a real big personality. So I don't think she came into this, in a timid manner. Really just an exceptional athlete. Had some really good training, both at Waverly High School and in the volleyball club Nebraska here in Lincoln that former Husker Maggie Griffin runs. So probably a little bit just because I hadn't thought about what her role would be, but she's certainly helped it out a lot and been a factor in why we've been able to be successful.
Brent, knowing John Cook, how do you think he approaches a game like this that obviously, as you mentioned, has some Big Ten implications, but in the grand scheme of their goals for a season, which is, national championship, probably doesn't have a huge impact on that specifically. How do you think they are approaching this mentally, even though it is a really big game?
Well, I think they'll just point to, what their defense has done against great teams in their past. This year, Wisconsin's pretty heavy on outside hitters, and Nebraska's done a great job on shutting down multiple really good outside hitters this year. I bet he'll say something about, this is a great chance to get an edge in the Big Ten standings and, set yourself up for a lot of success later in the year.
Hey, what was your reaction? Step outside of Nebraska, Wisconsin tonight as we're talking to Brent Wagner. What was your reaction to Hugh McCutcheon's news last week at Minnesota?
Yeah, it's gonna be his last year coaching. He's gonna take a leadership, kind of an assistant AD type thing role. I'm surprised, definitely surprised, but he's had a long career. Maybe he'll do something later on, but he coached both the national team, men and women for, I don't know, at least probably 12 years total. Knows anybody who's done that. John Cook's done a little bit of that. Anybody who's done those national type teams, they say that'll just take years and years off your life. All that international, you're basically traveling all summer to countries and not great flying and not great conditions. So I can certainly understand some of it. I think his wife was from up there, from Minnesota too. And that was kind of the original thing that got him back there. So slightly surprised, but also, you got to understand that he's probably pretty wore down.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I've never really, I just assume because of who's in place and their resources and fan base and being able to recruit in-state and recruit basically anywhere, that Nebraska is the number one job in the Big Ten. If you had to list off like the top 3 jobs, and in a conference that is, half the top 12 is from one conference in the Big Ten, what would be your top 3 jobs for volleyball programs in the Big Ten?
Wisconsin would definitely be 1 or 2 in there. Pretty good facility. They can recruit Chicago. They get a lot of players out of Chicago. Basically a lot of players out of Chicago. I think I asked John Cook once about, a really good, an All-American type player. And he said, yeah, she's probably got like a cab, she's from the Chicago area. It's like, yeah, they probably have a cabin in the Wisconsin area. They have a chance or something like that. So they've got a lot of players out of there. If you've been there, it's a pretty cool school. You got the lake there and, good things there. I think Ohio State could get there. They can kind of be, so Penn State for so many years, they were winning national championships. They were winning Big Ten championships. They kind of benefited because, they got anybody from the, East Coast all the way down to Florida and, the South. They got who they wanted, and then that allowed them to, recruit nationally after that. I think, Ohio State can kind of turn into that program, another the great school, great sports, good town. They built a new facility there. They got a good young coach, it seems like. Those would be the big ones, I think: Nebraska, Wisconsin, Ohio State.
Well, tonight should be a lot of fun. Brent, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. We need to do this more often.
All right, you're welcome.
That's Brent Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star. Nebraska, Wisconsin volleyball tonight, 8:00. Let me give you a little nugget, and I'm probably throwing a lot of volleyball on you.
That's all right.
So Nebraska has the number one defense, the black shorts.
Sure.
That's what they are. That's what they call their defense.
Yeah.
When they hit below 210, which is not a great percentage,
right?
They're 4-1. Okay, so that's not a good percentage to hit,
right?
But when you hit below 210, Nebraska volleyball is 4-1. So that just goes back to how good they've been defensively. But here's my hopes and dreams as this season goes along.
Mm-hmm.
Like when John Cook, when it seems like somebody is treading on John Cook's territory,
yeah,
I get a little bit defensive of my friend.
Okay.
So this gets me fired up tonight. Now, he may have a great relationship with Kelly, who's the head coach at Wisconsin. But it just seems like Wisconsin has owned Nebraska. You have to be fair there.
They're kind of on their corner a little bit.
Yeah, all right, get a little riled up, going on the road. I'm sure it'll be hostile. There'll be a lot of things that'll be said.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that'll be said when Wisconsin comes to Lincoln. This is like if you mark your territory. Like if Nebraska wins tonight, people around the country who are already aware of Nebraska being one of the better teams in the country go, uh-oh. But here's my dream.
Okay.
So Nebraska works their way through the Big Ten, the second half of the Big Ten, no hiccups, continue to roll right along. The RPI looks good. They get an opportunity to be at home for back-to-back weekends. They have to take care of business, but they have the opportunity to be at home. And then they wouldn't have to leave the state. they'd come and play in the Final Four. So Creighton on the other side.
Yeah.
So Creighton is number 15 in the country, and their RPI is pretty good. Creighton gets a home weekend. They get out of a home weekend and regional semifinals or finals. They're in Lincoln. Wouldn't that be something? Could we handle that?
I don't know. This
come back to Omaha.
That might tear
Creighton playing in a Lincoln regional semi and final.
That might tear the state apart. I mean, Creighton has played Nebraska better than anyone else this year. Is that fair?
Outside of Stanford.
Oh, Stanford. Yeah, obviously you got the loss there. But in terms of they're the only team, I believe, to take them to 5 sets this year. And, so that would be I don't know if the state could handle that. That might be too much. The Creighton, Nebraska hate might reach an all-time high there. Because right now, especially.
Well, the match in September that at the time set the record, and then Wisconsin had to be like, hey, we got a bigger arena, we'll set the record. There's something about him like just rubs me the wrong way. And I'm sure people that are in the volleyball world, like Wisconsin volleyball fans and other fans around the Big Ten, can't stand John Cook.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's like, when you beat somebody all the time, they tend not to like you that much.
But what that match did for volleyball, well, for both programs to play at that level, but then what that did for volleyball in the state took it to another level. That would be the next step.
Yes.
Is if they were playing with bigger stakes on the line.
Rather than just a non-conference game in September. I will say if they play at Wisconsin the way they played at Purdue, and I know Wisconsin's better than Purdue, but I mean, you're talking about almost top 10 team in Purdue, top 12 team in Purdue on the road. Probably not the same atmosphere as you get at Wisconsin, but you go in there and it wasn't just a sweep. It was dominating, and to the point where people on Twitter are commenting, this looks like a college team versus a high school team, which is probably a little dramatic, but it gives you a sense of the domination there. If Nebraska puts on a performance like that against Wisconsin, which I'm not expecting, I expect it to be more competitive than that. It's going to be really interesting to see what the narrative around this team looks like for the rest of the season, because they're already kind of a juggernaut, undefeated in Big Ten play so far. If they put it on Wisconsin, see what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
If they put it on Wisconsin, it's going to go to a whole new level.
Number one defensive unit tonight for Nebraska, hitting percentage. Wisconsin is number one. Now there is the other part of Wisconsin. They good on their lawyers, because you remember what the story about Wisconsin volleyball was last week?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, the nude photos and videos that
have been leaked. Yeah,
and how quickly like lawyers got them off the internet.
Yeah, which is hard to do because the internet's forever.
Didn't this seem like it was only maybe a one-day story, or maybe not even a full day?
Yeah,
this is a big deal.
Half a day, maybe.
Yeah, but that was a week ago, and I really hadn't even thought about it until it was brought up yesterday that they went out and beat Michigan with their first match after that, and that this isn't a distraction. I'm like, wow, that was kind of like a major internet thing that was only a couple of hours. They were off. I mean, there's some that exist,
yes,
but lawyers and people were like, nope, off, nope, get that off, get that off. That this, which when it broke, you were like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was a huge
deal. A 2 or 3 hour story.
Yeah,
for Wisconsin volleyball.
From the day that it broke, I had not thought about it until you just mentioned it. Like, that's how quickly it just left my consciousness, which is incredible because it was, again, a couple hours on last week. It was a huge deal. And again, good on the lawyers to get everything taken down. I still wonder if we're going to have criminal charges at some point, because what happened was illegal. We'll see. But yeah, good on them for making that just kind of disappear. That I hadn't even thought about it.
I mean, I guess Wisconsin volleyball players know how to celebrate. I mean, how would they celebrate beating the number one team in the country tonight?
Well, probably not as enthusiastically as
the
you
Big
will a
Ten
national
celebration was a lot bigger.
Yeah,
they had balloons and hats.
Yeah.
What were the? No, it's because that was, we all kind of went, whoa, what's going on? And it honestly was like a 3 or 4 hour story.
Enough for the crossover, and then we're good.
Yeah, I thought, honestly, I literally hadn't thought about it until you just brought it up. And like we're talking about Wisconsin volleyball this entire time, and it didn't even cross my mind again.
I mean, the content that was leaked was, I mean, extremely sexually graphic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, there was no ambiguity there in terms of what was being shown.
No. Hope you clean your cookies. All right, we're going to talk Illinois football coming up next. So, how do you celebrate beating the number 1 team in volleyball? How would Nebraska celebrate beating the number 17 team in the country?
Storm the field, take the goalposts.
Would Trev go, I don't care, I'll pay the fine.
March them down to the Missouri River. It's a long march.
Now, Ravi, we're talking about Lincoln. Salt Creek.
Okay, there you go. Salt Creek. There you go. Yeah. I'm not with a.
That would be an awful long.
It's a long march, you know. It's
I think I would reserve that journey for a bigger opponent to beat.
All right, Michigan.
People go to Ann Arbor, tear down the goalposts, and bring them back to Lincoln.
That's right.
We'll see you in about 4 weeks.
Oh, just throw them in the lake up there. Just march over to the lake and toss them in.
Yeah, I don't know that this would be field storming.
Yeah, I'm being a bit facetious here.
I mean, we're not Clemson where they always storm the field after every game.
They are.
It always blows me away how people like lose their mind when they beat Syracuse and the fans come on the field and they're like, oh my God, geez, Clemson. Well,
it's literally every
at
game.
Clemson, they do that every game.
They're
for whatever reason.
They're cordially invited to meet at the paw, is how they put it.
Sometimes it's just easier to do that because you can walk out rather than go out the stadium.
Just walk across the field.
When I went to the KU Iowa State game, we went on the field not because we wanted to be on the field. It's like we can get to the bar a lot quicker rather than going through the stadium.
It is.
We were there in 5 minutes.
Easiest access to the alcohol, I think, is.
What if that became a Nebraska tradition? Hey,
meet at the end
after every win. Meet at the end.
Wouldn't have been a lot of meetings lately.
We've taken away your Say No to Drugs pledge where you could come on the field during the spring game. We're going to replace it with even bigger stakes. Nebraska wins. Everybody meet at the end.
So are they encouraging you to say yes to drugs now?
I don't know. I mean, look at fentanyl use in this state. Might be a direct result of the Say No to Drugs pledge not being on the field.
Listen.
Do they even do it anymore?
I don't think so.
That looks like a big deal.
I did it when I was a kid.
I mean, yeah, and you didn't care if you did drugs or not. You just want to be on the field.
Yeah,
and we're out there playing football. And you got T.O. leading a pledge, and you're like, throw me the pass!
And you're like, what's happening over there?
Do we get a T-shirt?
I'm on the field. What are you saying?
I know there's lawyers involved and stuff. I don't know that they I don't know if they do the pledge anymore.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Wow, we are failing the youth of Nebraska.
School lunches and Say No to Drugs.
Can you imagine?
I love it. Great day.
It's Mickey or a new coach.
Bring it
they
back.
Walk in, they're like, hey, we're back, baby.
Get them on the field.
Hey.
That's why we struggle with in-state recruiting. These kids don't have that core memory of going on the field and as little tots.
Now, I'm glad to see that they are allowing people to, like, mostly when the stadium is cleared out, to come on the field and, for a little bit.
Yeah.
And you'll see, I mean, I hang around, hour and a half after games. You'll see like some of the state troopers are out there throwing passes to kids. So at least there's some hope in the world.
A little bit of joy.
But I mean, kids are doing drugs now because they don't have the spring game.
I think that is a direct correlation.
God, that was like a cool deal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like nobody was taking it serious. They wanted to just be on the field and play, play with your, play football.
Oh yeah, 100%. You just wanted to be on.
Or your parents are like, oh, put up your right arm, Sally. She's like, no, what are we doing out here?
I'll put up my right arm. I'm open. Throw it deep.
Robert Rosenthal to talk Illinois football coming up next.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
I'm going to bury a take in here. S'mores are overrated.
Whoa! What kind of a monster are you? Explain yourself. Show your work, Connor.
Melted marshmallow, guys?
Delicious.
No. Not really. Not really at all. Why? Marshmallow is not a good thing. Marshmallows aren't good.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny start to Wednesday, but becoming mainly cloudy by the afternoon. Slight chance of a shower late, mainly north of the metro, with highs around 60. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Burden AC Heating, Plumbing, and More Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can still expect some significant delays from 168th all the way to 120th eastbound along Dodge. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for some significant slowdown from I-80 East all the way to 144th. And on L Street, be prepared for some major delays from 102nd all the way to 84th heading eastbound. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
It's your time for higher education, not higher debt. And it all starts with a scholarship application to Metropolitan Community College. Every year, MCC awards more than $3 million in scholarships to students. In less than 5 minutes with a single application, you can apply for all the scholarships available to you. It's your time to path forward. Let MCC show you the way. Register today. Classes start December 1st. Apply today at mccneb.edu/scholarships.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power and savings with style. Not to mention top tech to help keep you connected. Plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years, with a hybrid or electric vehicle built for every driver. Seriously, dear gas prices? Do you really think you can stand in our way? Think again. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
See your independently owned Omaha Metro Toyota dealers. Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Corwin Toyota of Bellevue.
Hey, Olivia, what do you think when you think of Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe?
I think, can we go now?
Jones Bros is famous for award-winning cupcakes. Our cafe is delicious for breakfast and lunch, too.
Try French macarons.
And our light bulb boba drinks.
And our ice cream.
And our coffee and lattes.
And our croissant donuts.
We cater, too. Come see us at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village.
Come on, let's go.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton Women's Soccer wraps up the regular season home schedule tomorrow night as they host the Butler Bulldogs. Kickoff is set for 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets online at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus Butler tomorrow night at 6:30. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Husker coverage on 1620 The Zone is presented by Tickets for Less. Tickets for Less is your local source for Nebraska football tickets. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com. All the Nebraska football news, stories, experts, and coverage you need is on 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Dingman's Mechanical Repair. Service is at the heart of our business. Visit us at dingmansmechanical.com.
1620 The Zone.
All right, halfway through the week. Don't forget, coming up on Friday, the show will be at Jones Bros Cupcakes and Cafe in Exarban Village, where we will be on a football Friday ahead of Nebraska and Illinois, and pretty good slate of games. We got Penn State and Ohio State as well. K-State in action against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it's not a bad weekend. I'm hoping. I was a little disappointed last weekend. It's probably coming off of the high from 2 weeks ago. There's probably not much that could have lived up to that. But no, it's a pretty good slate of games. There's some decent Big Ten games, which I'm excited about.
We'll see who Jimbo Fisher has available. Suspended 4 players for smoking weed in the locker room before the game against USC.
I gotta say, smoking it in the locker room is a bold choice.
I would be a definite, not just a suspension, it'd be a gots to go situation.
Yeah, that's not even a weed thing. That's a judgment thing.
No.
Just be smarter than that.
Yeah, those are wise words from Ravi. Let's welcome in. Talk a little Illinois football. We welcome in Robert Rosenthal, who you can find his handiwork on IlliniBoard.com. Robert, good morning. Welcome to 1620 The Zone.
Good morning. Thanks, guys.
Hey, so I know and everybody is now, as people around here get ready for this game, and we have been watching Bielema's team all season long. We still wonder, man, what happened against Indiana? But there are 6 other games where you go, man, this team is proven possibly to be legit. You get asked this a lot, and this is year number 2 that last year included that crazy overtime win at Penn State, go on the road, win at Minnesota, started the era with a win against Nebraska. How has this happened so quickly midway through year number 2 that Illinois comes to Lincoln as a 7.5-point favorite, number 17, and has a legitimate path to make it to Indianapolis before they get to the end of the year?
You're right. I get asked that question a lot, and I still don't have a good answer because, I've been doing this, covering Illinois years and years and years. And, the last time Illinois had a coach that didn't fire, it was John Makovic, who left for Texas in 1990. Every coach since 1991 has been fired because they failed at rebuilding. So when you have 30 years of failed rebuilds, and then suddenly, somebody has it done in a year and a half, you look around and wonder, okay, is this a mirage? What's happening? These are Lovey's recruits. Lovey's recruiting classes were ranked so low. How is it that a new staff comes in, takes those same players, and turns it around to where they're number 17? It's just hard to say. I mean, the biggest thing you can say is they have 4 or 5 NFL players on defense, and an Illinois team has not had that since the mid-90s when Simeon Rice and Kevin Hardy went 2 and 3 in the draft. They just haven't had this much talent on defense. And you add to that right now, the leading rusher in the nation, and that's a Big Ten West way to win games, is run the ball and play great defense.
Robert, take us back to a year and a half, or I guess almost 2 years ago now, when Bielema was hired. He wasn't really on a lot of radars at that point, had kind of gone to the NFL to hide. What was the vibe around Champaign when that announcement was made? I know you guys have a lot of trust in your AD, Josh Whitman, so that probably helps. But just what was the perception of him when he was first hired?
The initial perception, like day of the hire, was this kind of shock. So many people kind of bought into the best way you can say it is the Burt persona that, SEC media, especially when he was losing at Arkansas, they built this kind of like, big jolly guy who just doesn't know what he's doing and this type of thing. I think he did win the opening press conference. It was weird. It was in the middle of COVID. It was on Zoom. he's standing by himself in the lobby of the new Smith Center and taking questions. But I think he did win that. I mean, he said a lot of the right things, which is, look, I was born in Illinois. You know, he says this all the time. I was born in Illini Hospital. I'm built for this. I went to Illinois games when I was a kid. I had an Orange Crush towel on my wall when I was growing up. They just didn't offer me, so I went to Iowa, and he's built this on, this has to get back to being Illinois football with Illinois players, and they have to stop going to Notre Dame, and they have to stop going to Michigan. And he's just said all the right things. So he had buy-in that first spring, and then when he beat Nebraska in the opening game, he got buy-in, and it's just built from there. It's been, he hit all the right notes as to saying, look, I was at K-State as an assistant, I was at Iowa as an assistant, I was at Wisconsin as an assistant, and then head coach. I know Midwest programs that have been down forever that can be turned around, and I'm going to do the same thing here. And so far, he's followed through.
Robert Rosenthal joining us here on 1620 The Zone. Everybody talks about Chase Brown on offense, and you alluded to the plethora of defensive players that have led to one of the best defenses, if not the best in the country. But there's also the part of you got to have a quarterback. And you've seen a lot of different guys come through there at quarterback that are one and dones, or they really struggle. They come out of the portal, they transfer, whatever it may be. So Tommy DeVito shows up, and I remember, Robert, Syracuse the year before COVID, he put up some pretty good numbers for Syracuse. But then last year he lost his starting job, finds a new home. You're thinking, is this going to be another Illinois quarterback that, is okay but not great? How would you describe his season for a guy that's completing it at about 70%, looks really good when the pocket collapse, has great command of the offense? Give us what your assessment of Tommy DeVito has been this season.
It's really crazy how similar it is to Brett Bielema in that, people hear it and like, really? That, there was this nickname, Tommy DeVito, that people used for Tommy DeVito because, Syracuse wasn't able to maintain what they had when Eric Dungy was their quarterback, and Tommy just wasn't their guy. And, if you think of the transfer portal these days, when everybody hits the portal, these huge names, these 5 stars, there's 2 USC quarterbacks, so where are they going to go? Caleb Williams is going to USC. Well, maybe they have 3 guys that can go start elsewhere, and all these big names. And so Illinois fans are talking, maybe it's this, maybe it's a 5-star guy from LSU who's leaving. And then it's, a guy from Syracuse who had lost his starting job to Garrett Schrader the year before. And, I think Illinois fans are like, that's weird. I mean, I was a 4-star in high school, but with all these quarterbacks available, that's what they've gone for. And so far, 7 games into the season, he's been exactly what they need. He's been the 4-star that he was back in high school. He found an offense that fits. He found a coordinator that he thinks with. And he's just been really, really good. So, it's the same thing of like, they know what they were going for. They knew what they were looking for. They knew the exact kind of quarterback they wanted to run this system that's obviously going to be dominated by Chase Brown. And they found that guy. So it's, it's really interesting that nobody was celebrating when Bielema got hired. Nobody was celebrating when Tommy DeVito was the chosen quarterback. And both of them have far exceeded expectations.
Robert, obviously the defense has kind of been the star of the show so far this year for Illinois, and the pass rush kind of in particular. But maybe the matchup of the game to watch is going to be Trey Palmer versus Devon Weatherspoon. How do you see that playing out, and do you see an advantage one way or the other?
I saw a mock draft this week that had Spoon 10 overall. So he has gone from unknown cornerback at Illinois to possible first-round draft pick. As somebody who covers this team, you could kind of see it coming. He made this play as a freshman. Lovey's one big win in Champaign was beating number 6 Wisconsin, and he made a literal shoestring tackle at the 5-yard line on a guy who was just about to score to put the game away. And Illinois put up a goal line stand and was able to go drive down and kick a winning field goal. So Spoon was a freshman cornerback then. He's a junior now, a COVID junior, I guess he'd be a senior. He's steadily been the guy over there. He played opposite Nate Hobbs, who's now with the Raiders for a while. So he was kind of the undercard. He's a finalist for National Defensive Player of the Year award kind of thing at this point. So he's just been really, really, really good. And I'll tell you, I don't know how much Trey Palmer talks, but Kevin Witherspoon talks more than any Illinois player I have ever seen. He never, ever stops talking. The last play of the last game against Minnesota, Sidney Brown got the interception, and Spoon stood there and waved at PJ Fleck right in his face, like, bye-bye, go away. He could back it up so far, but he does some things on the field that, I think 80,000 people may take offense to on Saturday. But he has constantly backed it up.
Hey,
go ahead.
My pod. I was going to ask you about Ryan Walters, sticking with that, talking about the defense. So it's a former Colorado guy at 36 years of age, is on the rise of what he's doing with this defense. Has he got any magic potion on why he's gotten, and I know this, and Robert, we talked about it earlier in the week. Lovey didn't leave the cupboard bare on that side of the ball, but they didn't have, they were playing his defense, and you got a guy that in 2 years has gotten them to play at such a high level. What's the key for a 36-year-old defensive coordinator to be able to collectively put all that talent together to be as successful as they are? And what do you think? Is he at a point where, yeah, you know what, it's a good gig right here, I can be choosy, or do you think when the season is over, he goes back to his alma mater?
Because he's so young, I've had this conversation with several people. I have a friend who's given the opinion, I'm like, I feel like he's the next Colorado coach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Colorado will hire someone that's going to fail in the next 4 years, and then Ryan Walters is maybe ready to be a head coach. The jump from Illinois defensive coordinator to college head coach is a big one. You almost think there would be an interim level in there, another that he's some kind of SEC coordinator, or maybe he's a head coach in the MAC or the Sun Belt or something like that before he's ready to jump all the way to Colorado head coach. But yes, his dad played at Colorado. He played at Colorado. He is Colorado football through and through. And, the thought is he eventually ends up there. It's just, is he ready? As far as the magic potion he's found, he runs a completely different defense than Lovey did. I don't know if this is a proven stat, but it's said that he runs more man-to-man than any coordinator in the country. So he trusts his guys, his defensive backs, more than most any coach. And he runs this odd man front where he's kind of switching things up and usually has someone over the center, and quite often has 5 defensive linemen. The 2 outside linebackers are more defensive end than they are anything. And he's able to get to the quarterback. He's able to blitz and trust the guys on the back end. He's just built this thing to where they all know what their responsibilities are when he calls something different. He's got a bunch of, he runs basically 3 safeties at all times. It's kind of a weird, I've never covered a defense like this. He has Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, and Kendall Smith on the field most of the time. And so it's this kind of strange defense that sometimes only has 1 linebacker and has 3 safeties. And it has worked. I'm stunned every week when I watch it. When I watch them shut down a Minnesota offense that should be able to throw the ball, and Tanner Morgan can't even throw for 30 yards. It's pretty stunning what they've been able to do.
Robert, we've heard Brett Bielema and Illinois talk a lot this week about kind of the stadium and the fans at Nebraska, and Illinois finds themselves in kind of a unique position in that they're now kind of the clear-cut favorite in the West. They're a 7.5-point road favorite coming into Lincoln. How much do you think the situation around this game, just all the context to this game, is going to impact how the game actually plays out?
I mean, because of the way the Indiana game played out, I would say it's going to affect a lot. Illinois has had 2 road games so far. They lost at Indiana on Labor Day weekend, on Friday night, actually. And then they won at Wisconsin. The game at Wisconsin was when Paul Chryst was fired after the game. Basically, it was a crowd the moment Illinois got up, they were booing. I mean, it was very, very quiet in there, and people were fed up with Chryst and done. So it wasn't really a loud road environment. And then the other road game, Illinois kind of folded at Indiana and gave up a 75-yard drive in the final 2 minutes to lose the game. So yeah, I think a crowd like this, I think especially if Nebraska can get a score or maybe even a defensive score early, it would be a test for Illinois, because most of these wins have all come at home, and it's time to get tested on the road.
Robert, we appreciate the insight. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the season, which I think you deserve this after covering a lot of those other seasons for Illinois football.
I don't know what to do with myself. Planning for a bowl trip over New Year's? What is that? I don't even understand.
Hey, Robert, thank you.
All right, thanks.
That's Robert Rosenthal. You can find his work on IlliniBoard.com or follow him on Twitter at ALionI. Interesting about Ryan Walters. That makes sense. Now, he hasn't been in Colorado since he was a student assistant in the secondary, and that's 2009. The landscape has changed a little bit. Colorado's in a different conference.
They're in a different conference. They're in a bad way. And I mean, in terms of Power 5 schools, their resources got to be in the bottom handful, right? I mean, that's a really tough situation there. I know there's the call home and the kind of appeal of going back and fixing your alma mater and all that. I mean, we've seen here, it's not always all it's cracked up to be, but also that's a really, really hard job at this point. And he's going to have a chance to be more picky than Colorado. And maybe he does want to get, a group of 5 head job under his belt, get, kind of put the training wheels on a little bit.
Colorado, step outside the family.
Yeah. It's not.
That's a big part of the problem.
Durrell, just, what, I'm sure there's people that are interested, but Robert brought up a good point. You're 36 years old. No, you're going to ride Bielema here. Now, if I'm Bielema, and I want people to move on and it's about growth, but here's a guy that I think I might fight to keep.
Oh, yeah.
You'd say, hey, we could make it worthwhile to live in Champaign-Urbana because we got a thing rolling here.
Well, and he can.
But he's also probably going to be does somebody try and swoop in and grab him as a DC somewhere else?
Yeah,
where they could pay above and beyond and say, hey, we're at a tier above where you're currently at.
Well, and Robert alluded to that, maybe an SEC school comes in, and we've seen that with Dave Aranda before, goes from Wisconsin to LSU. Some of these defensive coordinators in the SEC are making $1.5 million. I mean, that's better than a lot of group of 5 schools pay for head coaching jobs. So that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, again, if you're Ryan Walters, you're in a pretty good position here. You're young enough. It's not like he's pushing 50. And if he doesn't get a head coaching job soon, maybe he never does. He's got quite a bit of runway here to not put himself in a bad position, because the only thing worse than not getting a head coaching offer is taking the wrong head coaching offer and making sure you never get another one.
Maybe he waits for Colorado to figure out what they're doing.
Coming up in the next hour, Scott Chanley will join us. Also, Brandon Vogel. Maybe we'll get a little recruiting, junior college recruiting, which is popular for Nebraska. And Dylan Raiola, is the door still open to the number 1 prospect in the 24 class? Nebraska offered his younger brother yesterday. Is Dylan still in play at Nebraska? Well, maybe we pose that question to Brandon. That's coming up in the next hour on 1620 The Zone. Hey, coming up on Wednesday, November 9th from 11:30 to 1, Embassy Suites La Vista, it is the Kim Foundation's annual Time for Hope and Healing event. Every year they bring in a well-known mental health advocate to tell their story. This year has a sports angle. Jay Glazer from Fox NFL Sunday will tell his story, and it is quite the story that he has battled through some things to get to where he is in his career. And recently He wrote a book, Unbreakable, How I Turned My Depression and Anxiety into Motivation, and you can too. He'll share his story at the Kim Foundation Luncheon. Now, tickets are only $75 to support this great cause and attend this great event. You can purchase tickets now and get more information at thekimfoundation.org. Jay Glazer will be here Wednesday, November 9th from 11:30 to 1 at Embassy Suites in La Vista. It is the annual Kim Foundation Luncheon, a time for hope and healing, with Fox Sports' Jay Glazer.
Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
MD West One's team of neurosurgical spine specialists is the largest and most advanced in the greater Omaha metro. MD West One has been voted the #1 private practice and #1 in neurosurgery and spine by Best of Omaha year after year. They can help if you're suffering from recurring neck and back pain, weakness or numbness in your extremities, sciatica pain, or any other recurring issues stemming from your neck or back. Go to mdwest1.com to meet the spine team at MD West One.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options, and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Can I get the sales projections for the Springfield, Bristol, and Fairview stores?
Val's Froyo Palace is dishing out 3 more locations.
Jody, have you lined up interviews?
They need 3 new store managers before they have a meltdown.
And remember, they need at least 5 years experience.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ew. Stuck in a cycle of rewashing your clothes? Ugh. Because you can't remove tough laundry odor? Ugh. When detergent by itself can't cut it, use new Downy Rinse and Refresh. With a breakthrough odor-removing formula, it removes odors in 1 wash, better than the leading value detergent in 3 washes, keeping all your laundry fresh. Now you can break the cycle of rewashing with Downy Rinse and Refresh.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. Hurry, just 5 days left. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Club with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Just 5 days left. Go to GenesisHealthClubs.com before Halloween and get no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. 5 days left. This offer will not extend.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout? Here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 6.99% APR with AutoPay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money, the much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. Lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 6.99% APR to 21.49% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
It is time to start Week 8 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. John and Josh here for FanDuel, and it doesn't matter if you're new or already have a FanDuel account, you will get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. We've got Bucks and Ravens. You got two really good quarterbacks in this matchup. Take a look at those passing yards. Take a look at the total or the point spread. You can bet them together, and a same-game parlay means, Josh, bigger payouts.
How about this, John? A Lamar Jackson anytime touchdown. Add that into your same-game parlay. Sign up today with our promo code 1620 to take advantage of the no-sweat same-game parlay. And if you already have an account, you are all set. Just sign in to see what you've got from the FanDuel Sportsbook promo code 1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet is $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Looking for a career, not a job? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. You'll receive top pay, fully funded family health care, and retirement benefits. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call Michael at 402-810-0789.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer. 'Tis the season at Glass House Market with Knoyer Garden Center. We'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market, where you'll find a perfect gift for that special someone or the Christmas decor you've been wanting. Join our family for the open house November 5th and 6th to help us celebrate the holiday season. Glass House Market located within Knoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Do you know the common signs of transmission trouble?
Your engine revs before falling into gear. Shifting is rough, or you're leaking reddish-brown fluid.
Knowing the signs could mean repair instead of replace.
That's where we come in. We're certified transmission.
The job done right at the right price.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory. Explore payment options and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
Haven't been to 42 degrees lately? Then you should, with the largest selection of glass and water pipes, vaporizers, kratom, CBDs, and more. Our staff is the friendliest and most knowledgeable in Omaha. 42 degrees, by your mom's house.
Shop Woodhouse Place Hyundai and Nissan, 144th and Giles. KOZN, Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs.
All right, the NFL back at it tomorrow night between the Bucks and the Ravens. We're back at it with Scott Shanley, Husker Super Bowl champion. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hey, you've played on some really good defenses, and I know along the way in your football career, maybe you've on some bad defenses but had really good offenses or vice versa. What's the locker room like when one side of the ball is drastically better than the other, and there are moments where the other side of the ball just puts you in bad situations?
Well, you know, it makes everything a lot easier if you're winning games, for sure. If you're struggling and losing and one side of the ball is struggling a little bit, it can get pretty chippy throughout, you know, the facility and at practice. And I've been a part of teams where, you know, we have been playing well defensively, and the offense, you know, fortunately for me, the entire time I was in New Orleans, the offense was pretty good with Drew Brees at quarterback. So, you know, there would be things that, you know, guys would say in jest, and, you know, sometimes you'd be put in your place like, yeah, we need to pick it up. We need to pull our weight, because, you know, your window of opportunity in NFL, just with the length of your NFL careers, are very short. You don't have many years to waste. So I've been part of teams where it can definitely get chippy, but a lot of it is just dictated on whether you're winning or losing, just how far that goes within your own locker room.
So we've seen it, you know, the Broncos in the NFL, like Iowa in college. But there's another part of the Iowa equation, and we can tie this into the NFL because you got Matt Patricia calling plays with the Patriots. You'll see sometimes where quarterbacks, Scott, will be defensive back coaches, whether it be in college, maybe even in the NFL. They have a different perspective, but They kind of know what's coming. What is the oddest fit? Like, what would be an odd fit? You as a linebacker, if you were coaching at Nebraska, any other college, or the Saints said, hey, we want you to come be an NFL coach. As a former linebacker, what position do you think, maybe outside of OC quarterback, that you think, man, there'd be no shot I'd have any idea what I'm doing?
Oh, well, I think most guys who played the game for a while, you would have a certain idea of where to begin. But as far as being able to give everything to those kids or guys at that position, I think for me, going from linebacker to the offensive side of the ball would be wide receivers. I feel like I have a good idea offensive line wise, maybe not in pass protections and all those different things that they have to do as far as which way they're sliding, who's picking up man side, who has zone side. I feel like running back would be an easy transition because as a linebacker, you have to find the hole and see things before they develop, just like a running back. And most guys who played linebacker were running backs at some point. I think just going over to the opposite side of the ball, the wide receiver position, there's so much detailed and nuance to that position, teaching fast guys how to run routes, teaching them how to use their body to get open, teaching them exactly what to do with their head and their shoulders and their hips to snap guys off and to gain that separation. Even if you're not a 4-3 guy, I've seen plenty of receivers who are 4-5, 4-6 guys be able to get open. So I think going to that position, there's so many details that I just wouldn't know, to give back to those guys.
All right, Scott, I want to ask you about a couple of divisions in the NFC right now. You got the NFC South, where your Saints are in that one, and at the bottom of the division right now, you've got the NFC West. Which of those two divisions is worse right now in terms of just you don't like the way those teams are playing?
Without a doubt, it's the NFC South. I think, and a lot of it is, I think the NFC West, when you look at it, I think the 49ers are a good team. They got blown out by the Chiefs, but I think they have a chance to make noise in the NFC playoffs. Getting Christian McCaffrey is a big piece of their puzzle. I feel like they're a team that always can figure it out because Kyle Shanahan is a good play caller. I think defensively, they are a team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs. And then the Rams, defending Super Bowl champions, I think Geno Smith and what the Seattle Seahawks have done have been they've impressed me more than any team in the NFL. I thought they were going to be in the cellar of the NFL all year. Pete Carroll's done a really good job with them. And then Arizona's a tough out because Kyler Murray, that backyard brand of football where he goes off schedule, can get outside the pocket and make long days for you. DeAndre Hopkins is back. So I think all four of those teams are a team that can beat anybody any given Sunday. The NFC South is a mess. And a lot of it, the reason I say the NFC South is worse off is because of quarterback play. Saints don't have a quarterback. Carolina doesn't have a quarterback. Atlanta, Mariota's been doing an okay job. And then you look at Tom Brady, who's really been struggling. I think he has a chance to figure it out, and that Buccaneers defense has a chance to figure it out. But all four teams in the NFC South are just really bad right now.
Hey, there's a lot of talk around here as Nebraska gets ready to play Illinois, and Illinois is really good with their defense. And everybody clamors for the screen game. I mean, I think any of us that watch football and a well-executed screen, inject that straight into your veins. But why? How come the screen game in college or the NFL sometimes is the most difficult thing to execute? But when you do execute it, it looks like everybody is in sync and it is the greatest thing going.
Yeah, it is. It is hard to execute because you really need all 11 guys on the same page as far as timing. If you give one offensive lineman who lets their guy go too soon or stays on their defensive line block too long and they don't get to the next level, maybe that linebacker makes a play. So it is really hard to execute. But I think the reason it works so well, and I was a part of defenses, I think most defensive coordinators preach effort, hustle to the ball, all 11 hats, getting to the ball carrier. I think the screen game frustrates defenses because, as a guy who's hustling to the ball and going full speed to wherever the ball is and trying to get to the quarterback, now you negate that hustle. You negate that speed and that effort to the ball by changing it up with the screen. And I remember my time in New Orleans when, those 3 years with Greg Williams, I felt like we were the hardest playing defense in the NFL as far as effort to the ball. And I still see film of those years and we flew around, but the hardest plays, the plays that beat us were wide receiver screens, running back screens, things like that, because it negates your effort to the ball.
Scott, it seems like Casey Thompson's going to have a lot of pressure on his face, in his face on Saturday. if we take the screen game out of it, because it doesn't seem like that's something that Nebraska is super comfortable with, what are some of the other ways as a defense you would be slowed down by the offense on some of the things they can do strategically?
It all starts with, those are plays where you think what goes against our effort and hustle the ball. Screens, obviously we just talked about, but just good old fashioned in between the tackle running the ball for 3 or 4 yards and just doing that consistently and getting into 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5 or less is a huge advantage to the offense because that play caller's playbook expands exponentially. You get into 3rd and 5 to 8, they have some more plays, but if you get in 3rd and 8 plus, that means you're not running the ball very well on 1st and 2nd down. Now you can tee off as a defense. Your pass rushers can win one-on-one. You can keep 7 in coverage, or you can bring heat. You can do whatever you want if you get into 3rd and long. So I think as a defense, it all starts with stopping the run on 1st down and getting into those 3rd and 8, 3rd and longs, and you give yourself a huge advantage to get off the field.
Scott Chandler joining us here on 1620. Your thoughts on Christian McCaffrey, the trade, and it wasn't really rocket science stepping in and running some plays, but your thoughts on the trade and like how much of an adjustment do you think it was for him to learn a few plays on Sunday?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I'm excited to see him out of the NFC South where my Saints are, that's for sure, because he is an outstanding player. He was, Carolina's in shambles right now. They don't have a quarterback. They got rid of their best player. Good luck finding a great coach who wants to go into that position for them. But they can figure that out, and that's their own problem. But Christian McCaffrey, when he was healthy, he's missed so much time the last couple of years. But if you go back to 2018, 2019, those years, he could be arguably the best player in the NFL. You talk about 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. He was so impressive. I never thought he would be an in-between the tackles type runner. I thought he was going to be a gadget guy, gadget type running back, a receiver out of the backfield coming out of Stanford. But he is an all-around back, and I think the 49ers absolutely won that trade. They gave up a bunch of mid-round draft picks, didn't give up a 1. But I think what Kyle Shanahan can do with him in that offense, in the backfield, running the ball and receiving the ball in the backfield, running maybe some power passes, some trick plays because he's a really good athlete. I really love that fit for him. I love that fit for San Francisco. And as far as him jumping off the plane and getting in the game and running some plays, it didn't really surprise me. It's tough. There's language that he is still going to be learning this week and through the rest of the season that's just different. But if there's one position you can jump off a plane and go in and play for a team, it's running back, because you can stand in the huddle and the quarterback can say, hey, this is just ISO right. This is just outside zone left. And so it's easily translated. Just get the ball and go and get some first downs.
You mentioned Tom Brady struggles earlier, and Gary and I were talking about this earlier in the show. Who would you bet on bouncing back more, Tom Brady in Tampa or Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, I think you're starting to see a little bit with Tom Brady. The offensive line, they have injuries there. That's affecting them. You can only get rid of the ball so fast for so long, because defenses, what they're going to do is they're going to say, you're not going to throw any deep routes if you're getting rid of the ball in 1 second. So we're just going to creep everybody up to the line of scrimmage, and we're going to see if you can get behind us. And Mike Evans dropped that wide open ball last week. Who knows if the game would have turned out different? Carolina, probably not. But I think between those two, I think Brady will figure it out. And this could be his last year. I'm not saying that he'll be a better player or is a better player than Aaron Rodgers. The only reason I think he can figure it out is because I think their team better. I think their receivers are better, and I think that's the reason he has a chance to figure it out over Aaron Rodgers.
I think we talk about this every week now because they're now 6-1. They do not have a receiver that has more than 200 yards receiving. How are the New York Giants 6-1 with all of these injuries and a quarterback that, along the metrics, is near the bottom of the NFL?
Well, two things. I think what the Giants are showing you is if you get the ball to your best player on your team, good things happen. And Saquon Barkley has stayed healthy. They've gotten the ball to him. I think he's averaging 130 yards a game, which is tops of his career. So having that guy healthy and giving him the ball, good things are going to happen. Running the ball, good things will happen. But I think so much credit to that team. And people, this is kind of under the radar, but Wink Martindale, their defense coordinator, was at the Baltimore Ravens. And it was kind of a surprise, outing where he left the Ravens last year. He does so many different things defensively, so many things. I remember doing a lot of the things that I watched the Giants do. They give offenses a fit because of all the different looks, all the different personnel they put on the field defensively. And I think the Giants defense is a big reason. And if you ask me, probably the main reason why they are where they are right now.
It's a heck of a story. Scott, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great week. Update. How is football going this fall? Are you still coaching?
Yeah. My oldest is a senior. Believe it or not, it's crazy.
Wow.
Their season's going really good. They're going to have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs and rank top 10 in the state of Texas. Hopefully get a state championship. They've come close the last couple of years. My other one's a freshman, so he's doing freshman ball and maybe varsity next year. So it's been a lot of fun watching those two. They're growing up too fast, but trying to enjoy every minute of it.
Wow, that's great because I still remember what Jagger with you at the out on the field and stuff. So that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. It's going too fast. All you can do is enjoy the moments. And already looking at college applications, I tell you what, he got a acceptance letter from Oklahoma the other day, and seeing that Boomer Sooner on the bottom of the page made my Husker blood boil. I'm telling you, but
hey, thanks, Scott.
Yep, absolutely. Take care.
That's Scott Shanley. He's got two boys. Lives in the Metroplex. Goes to Lovejoy, which is a pretty good program. You know, the all the stuff about the NFL week to week. There's the Eagles, there's the Bills, there's the Chiefs, and then there's some teams. You look at the Vikings. Vikings got a good record.
There's
the Giants.
There's a gap,
but
though.
it's kind of interesting. And maybe this is the NFL this year. It is a week to week. It is a fast changing league. And how do you define for real? Because we'll say, hey, the Giants are 6-1 and they're for real. Well, what does that mean? In the NFL, which is week to week, they're for real. What does that exactly mean? Like, because you're going to ask the question this week about Illinois. Is Illinois 6-1? Are they for real? Well, what does for real mean? Are they better than they've been in a while? Yes.
Absolutely.
Are they a contender to mess up the Big Ten in Indianapolis?
Probably not.
Gonna win the West?
Absolutely, I think.
No.
Yeah,
But in the NFL, week to week, that's kind of an interesting. What does that mean? Because are the Vikings for real? They play Arizona this weekend. Man, the Vikings are 5-1 off of a bye. Are they for real?
Yeah, there's varying degrees of for real, right? I mean, if you ask somebody who's like Robert, who we just talked to, who's suffered through the Tim Beckmans and Bill Cubits and Lovie Smiths of the world, this feels very real, right? But if you ask
good on you for just rattling off the just random Illinois football coaches.
Ron Zook, Ron Turner before that.
Now that was not a bad era.
No, it wasn't. But
Mike White,
John
Mackovic.
Been a minute.
Left out Lou Tepper.
Since then, never forget Lou Tepper. But it's been a minute since you've probably had a real enjoyable. I mean, you're probably going back to 2007, Juice Williams, Rashard Mendenhall, that era of Illinois football till you've had a season like this. So to them, 6-1 is for real. Even if they only win a couple more games on the way out, an 8-win season is for real. For Nebraska at this point, an 8-win season would feel very real. To Ohio State, an 8-win season is horribly disappointing and Ryan Day's on the hot seat, right? So like there's varying degrees to these things. I understand the question because I said it earlier. The Giants feel a lot like they're smoke and mirrors on offense. I think the defense is genuinely pretty good. And he brought up a really good point about Wink Martindale. I think he's really good at putting defenses together at the NFL level. The offense feels like if Saquon isn't doing everything, you maybe aren't going very far. Whereas the 49ers are 3-4. They do a lot of things I like, but they're injured all the time. I think they've still got 7 starters on the injured list this upcoming week. They don't have as good of a record, but to me, they feel more real than the Giants do. Is that a little bit of bias? Probably. But you also look at, I saw this while we were talking to Scott. So outside the NFC East, there are 2 teams with positive point differentials on the season so far. So in the NFC North, NFC South, NFC West, 2 teams with positive point differentials. You know who they are? Minnesota and San Francisco.
Okay.
You've got Tampa Bay's at 0. They're at even. Minnesota's plus 21. 49ers are plus 12. Everybody else in those 3 divisions are negative. So you look at that and you're like, well, maybe the 49ers are for real. Maybe the Vikings are for real. But it's really hard to tell because the 49ers record isn't very good. And then you look at the Vikings, you're like, the record's really good, but I don't know how I feel about the actual personnel and how they're playing football. So it's a good question, and there's not really a good answer.
TC writes into the Equitable Bank inbox, I have to laugh every time I hear someone mention Wink Martindale. I immediately think about the game show host.
Iconic name, by the way.
All of us old people think that way. So Wink Martindale is still alive.
Yeah.
He's 88.
There you go.
That's where my mind went too. So I don't know if that kind of separates me as to which group I belong to, but
Well, I think that when you have a name Wink, you're going to remember that.
Oh yeah, it's an iconic name for sure. I'm aware of the game show host. I don't remember the game show host.
Man, try telling like the younger generation that there were game shows and you remembered who the hosts were.
Oh yeah.
You used to be able to, I mean, it wasn't just
Monty
Alex
Hall.
Trebek. Oh, Chuck Woolery, Wink Martindale,
Alan Ludden.
Who's the
Richard Dawson?
Man, I'm blanking here. Bob Barker. Barker. There we go. Yeah. Bob Barker was my guy. I was a Price is Right guy growing up.
Is Price is Right the only game show that's on actually during the day?
I believe so. Oh, no. Wait. Let's Make a Deal hosted by Wayne Brady.
I would say Wayne Brady's got one.
Okay.
They brought back Let's Make a Deal a few years ago. I think that might be it.
And in syndication, you can always catch a Family Feud hosted by Steve Harvey.
God, outside of Jeopardy, I can't think of a game show that I've sat down and watched the entire time.
I haven't watched. I used to genuinely through college would watch Price is Right as often as I could. I loved Price is Right. I was a big Plinko guy.
We all are.
But I'm not a huge Drew Carey fan. He's not really. It's not for me.
Because he lost weight.
No, I think he's too casual. And
it's tough to, Bob Barker was the GOAT.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's hard to fill his shoes. He had the right level of enthusiasm without being over the top. Drew's a little more aloof about the job, and
he needs Mimi to come in and just kind of mess with him.
No, get Mimi out of here. I would rather have Wayne Brady as the Price is Right host than Drew Carey.
The only show, because we need it in this country, a game show network. Well, first of all, there's only two that I would stop to watch.
Okay.
Is Press Your Luck?
Yes.
I don't know that I've seen that one.
No
Peter
Whammies?
Tamarkin.
I've heard of No Whammy, but I've never
Okay.
actually seen it.
And then there was the Supermarket Show.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, those are the only two that I will stop to watch when I'm scrolling through and hit the game show network.
So my mom watches a ton of these shows. There's a bunch of like word game shows and stuff she watches. I don't even know what any of them are. But you mentioned daytime. I think they still do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire during the day. I think those are still new or new-ish.
R.I.P. Regis.
Yep.
Yeah, what is it? Meredith Vieira still?
Probably.
I would imagine that's probably a good gig for her.
Those are all good gigs.
Oh, those are great gigs.
I look at Pat Sajak. Yeah, you work 40 days a year?
Yeah, he's got a great deal. You just film like 10 shows a day and then you're done in a week.
When Millionaire first came out, it was must-see TV. Everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, it was prime time.
Oh,
but yeah, they moved it daytime since then.
There's only a couple of game shows that I've ever tried to get on. Like I wanted to go to The Price is Right, but I was not like prepared to go to The Price is Right. Like I didn't have an outfit on. I tried so hard to get on Supermarket Sweep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to go to Price is Right. Like that was because when I was a kid, I would watch it and it was like, you have to be 18 to go. And so like, that was my big plan. I was going to turn 18 and go to The Price is Right. Never did. I don't know. It just never happened.
See, you might be like for the producers that go out in the line where you're standing outside of the studio, because that's where they start to gauge who might be a really good guest.
Yeah.
If you had a wacky outfit on, I think you'd have a chance to get on that show.
I'm distinct looking.
Yes.
So I think I would catch their attention.
Yeah.
I think I might go, if I go, I think I'd go full tux. Just wear the tuxedo.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now that would definitely stand out.
I don't know if it's what they're going for, but it would get their attention. And you don't see that a lot. Usually it's like a goofy t-shirt or something. I think I'd go full tux. Tell them I take it seriously. I'm here for business.
R.I.P. game shows and Wink Martindale.
I think there's more than ever now. Like it feels like the game show era is over, but I think there's more than there's ever been.
I got summertime programming.
Well, you got I think Dwayne Wade hosts one, I think.
Yeah, I found that out during the rain delay the other night.
Yeah, on TBS, right? That's the first time I saw it.
He hosts a game
show?
show?
It's like Cube or The Cube or something. Is that right?
Something like that.
Yeah, during the rain delay in the baseball game it was on. And I think he's like
it's called The Cube.
I think he's the full-time host is what it seemed like anyway. It's weird. Game show hosts or game shows and
Oh my God, it's just like going on year number 2.
Yeah.
Also, this is like a real thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade, game show host. It's a good gig, man. It's I'm surprised that's like the one thing The Rock hasn't done. He's done everything else in show business.
Give it time.
I'm just surprised he hasn't knocked out like 3 years worth of game shows in a week of filming.
He could do a cooking game show.
Would
Can you
you
smell what The Rock is
consider,
cooking?
Mike asks, would you consider Survivor a game show?
Well, that's reality television. That's different.
Yeah.
It's competitive reality television, much like The Challenge on MTV. Not a game show, though.
Okay, this leads me to a good question. Game show or not game show? Cash Cab.
Game show.
Yeah.
To me, okay, so here's the difference.
Because it's on Game Show Network, right?
Well, here's the difference to me.
It was on HBO.
Was it?
Wasn't Cash Cab? No.
No,
I'm thinking a Taxi Cab.
Yeah, I was like, that's a different cab show, Gary.
Now, I will say, so there was a stretch where I'd go to visit family in New York City once a year, and I was just hoping that I would get in the Cash Cab.
Were you
Because I was prepared.
You ready to go?
Yeah.
I do like Cash Cab. That's a game show to me. So the difference to me between a competitive reality show and a game show is the game show resolves itself within the single show. Competitive reality shows, you don't get the winner till the end.
Okay.
Game shows are episode by episode. You get new winners.
Deep but accurate. Yeah.
I think that's the distinction there.
You need to bring it back. Wipeout and American Gladiators, and I'm back.
Oh, do you remember when they rebooted American Gladiators
It was
like
awful.
15 years ago?
Yeah, because it was like less steroids.
Yeah, you really gotta
No
pump up
Larry
the steroids
Zonka?
there.
They all have to be roided up.
That's the entire point. Yeah, just through the roof. Zac Efron could be on the show now. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah,
he is juiced.
He's on the Bonds diet.
Okay, so this is a follow-up. We're playing reality TV. Would you consider a food show Chopped a game show?
No, it's a cooking show. That's a different category.
It's a cooking game show.
It's a cooking competition. Not all competitions are games.
I'm going to think
I'm
on that
processing.
one. I have to think on that
Getting
one.
philosophical on you here.
Yeah,
in the
you
morning.
are.
Well, we had our 6 o'clock hour wreck, so we need to make up for that now.
Jameson's with me, Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah, that's a very popular one. People like that one.
Yeah, I wanted to I was in college and I wanted my roommates that we were going to get on Supermarket Sweep.
I haven't watched a lot of it, I'll be honest.
I like the host. You always seem happy. You seem like a genuinely good dude.
Well, I don't think you can be depressing as a game show host.
No,
you really got to be pretty chipper.
Yeah, I don't think like when the person wins the
Congratulations.
showdown, you're like, hey, you won a car.
Have you thought about the taxes on that?
60%.
Yeah, you can't be the
You can't quit your job.
yeah. Be like, don't quit your day job. This is going to cost you more than you
All
made.
your buddies are going to hit you up. For
Hey,
stuff.
there were people that were so wet blanket. Like you'd watch those shows and you'd be like, man, that could be me one day. And they go, well, what about the taxes? The taxes are going to be more expensive than the car. I'm like, wet blanket.
That's also not
I would
how-
not be thinking about that as I celebrate winning a car.
Does he even know how to drive a stick?
Also, like, have you never paid tactile license before? That's not how it works.
In Nebraska, yeah.
It's close.
All right.
It's close.
Brandon Vogel is coming up in a bit. Nebraska yesterday made an offer, but was it more than just an offer in the state of Arizona? Are the Raiolas back?
Back, baby.
We'll discuss that when we return. Brandon Vogel is coming up in about 15 minutes on 1620 The Zone. All right, fall's in full swing and big events are coming, whether they be on a stage or on a field, including Luke Combs. Yes, a 2-night affair, Friday and Saturday, downtown at the CHI Health Center. My friends at Tickets for Less, they're not just sports tickets. Come on, there are show tickets, and there are some great shows in Lincoln and Omaha coming, including Luke Combs. You don't want to miss it. Luke puts on a great, great show, country superstar. So if you are looking for tickets, check out my friends at Tickets for Less and ticketsforless.com right now. Now, always with Tickets for Less, you never have to worry about those crazy per ticket fees that you're going to pay on other sites. So compare and save today, whether you want to see Luke Combs in concert, whether you want to go to Memorial Stadium on Saturday to see Nebraska and Illinois, or when the Chiefs are back at Arrowhead Stadium. Tickets for Less is your source for the best tickets, again, without those crazy per ticket fees. Compare and save today online at ticketsforless.com.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
Bruce Feldman.
I really think Alabama is not as good as people say. Oh, baby, I'm so hot.
Actually, saying that does kind of get me going. Wait, Alabama, I missed the CFP? Hold on, I'm almost there. Say it slower. Yeah.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny start to Wednesday, but becoming mainly cloudy by the afternoon. Slight chance of a shower late, mainly north of the metro, with highs around 60. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Mornings on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
The Madness Haunted House will terrify you to your very soul. Come, your pants all over the 2 acres of fear at Pioneer Trail Orchard. Screaming for 30 minutes until you can scream no more. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. FearTheMad.com.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. Hurry, just 5 days left. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Club with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Just 5 days left. Go to GenesisHealthClubs.com before Halloween and get no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 20% per month every month. 5 days left. This offer will not extend.
42 Degrees, the source for glass and water pipes, vaporizers, candles, kratom, CBDs, and so much more. And if you're looking for premium certified e-juice, look no further than 42 Degrees.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-508-7409 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-508-7409. That's 800-508-7409. What do you have to lose? Call 800-508-7409. Again, 800-508-7409.
Imagine it's a scorcher and your home's AC just quit. Sometimes it's beyond repair and needs to be replaced. At 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, our comfort specialists take the frustration out of the equation. Modern AC systems are more energy efficient, which is good news for your energy bill. Call 402-788-1234 or visit McCarthy's1hour.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay time. Always on time, or you don't pay time.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Make it a great fall season. Head to KuglerVision.com today to request a consultation.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone.
All right, Brent Wagner, Robert Rosenthal, Scott Shanley have all joined us. They're all up on the radio replay page. We're here today because we didn't win the Powerball, which is now going to go to $700 million. I'm sure people will make wise decisions to buy Powerball tickets.
It's an investment.
Tomorrow, Jimmy, you can still follow through as the rookie on the show of grabbing Powerball tickets.
But not wings.
You can do Powerball and wings. There are places where you can go and you can get both.
Just don't get the tickets messy, man. We got to make sure those are clean so we can collect our winnings.
Yeah.
They scan them. You can't have wing sauce all over the ticket.
Very true.
Got to be careful there.
So an interesting offer. So Nebraska with an interim head coach and, for the most part, a lame duck coaching staff. They are still conducting business as usual, and they're recruiting and they are dropping offers. And Mickey got into a discussion yesterday about why they're recruiting junior college players. Because right now you can recruit them. You don't, the portal is not active.
Right.
But he said why you would recruit junior college players. So Nebraska's going for a quick fix next year.
Yes.
And you know what positions they're looking at: offensive line, they're looking at linebacker. I think also we are finding out, because this happened locally with a quarterback, that maybe his evaluation was misjudged, completely misjudged. Never an offer for Zane Flores. Just
not great.
Will stick with me for a long time. But you know what? I moved on.
It doesn't sound like you moved on.
So Mickey, Mickey now is running the show, and as he tries to move the 22 team forward, he's doing something that is in his wheelhouse, and that is recruiting and trying to go back a little bit and basically say, hey, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Some things were dropped, some evaluation, some communication wasn't as solid as it can be. But I want you to know that we're moving forward, and can you give us another chance?
Sure.
So yesterday, and Mickey was in Arizona last weekend, they made an offer yesterday to Dayton Raiola,
okay,
who is the freshman quarterback at Chandler, Arizona. Now, his older brother, who is the top prospect in the class next year and committed to Ohio State, but we know that he was interested in Nebraska, that'd be the older brother. And, of course, everybody knows Dad is Dom, and who's Dom's brother is Donovan, the offensive line coach. The world's being taken over by the Raiolas. So smart offer. You're thinking DNA. If Dylan blew up like he did, there's no doubt that Dayton is going to have a chance.
Yeah, got some legacy there.
Well, and they also did that with Kyle Vandenbosch's boys.
Yeah.
So smart offer. I mean, Mickey's going, guys that played at Nebraska that have got sons that are worthy of an offer. Let's get them an offer. But I wonder if what happened yesterday, and this is just speculation on my part.
Just wondering.
Because Dylan is in the class of 24. He is a year
Still got a ways
away from signing.
Long time till he signs.
I mean, when he was here for the spring and that weekend, Mickey was still here.
He was.
But Mickey wasn't the interim head coach and wasn't the front guy for the recruiting.
Sure.
Hey, we like Dayton. We're going to make him an offer. Can we still talk to Dylan? Dom.
Does Dylan still want to talk to us?
Does Dom, I'm telling you, landscape's different. Name, image, likeness setup here is a little bit different now. I don't know what was said. I don't know what the ball was dropped. Miscommunication whatever your feelings were, can we have another chance at Dylan?
With somebody else in charge.
And I mean, that's strictly on Dylan to go, yeah, I'll listen. But I wonder if that was the opening. Hey, we're gonna do right by you. Can we have one more chance?
I mean,
just a curious. I may be wrong in connecting the dots, but I wouldn't put it past Mickey to say, "Hey, can we start over? And can we?" Program is the same. It's the University of Nebraska. Everything goes with it. Can we have another chance to do right? Can we at least have one more face-to-face whatever before you get down the road and a year from now you sign and we're out of luck?
Well, and there's a lot of meat on that bone, right? Because it's kind of a tricky situation because you want to make sure that Dayton and Dom don't feel like you're using the younger brother to get to the older brother, right? And that can be kind of a tricky line to walk. So you have to put enough time and attention on Dayton to make sure it's understood, like, yes, we 100% want Dayton regardless of the Dylan situation, right? It's like, we understand things did not go the way anyone would have liked in the recruitment of Dylan Raiola, but we want Dayton regardless of what happens there. Now, if because of a regime change, people who have dropped the ball in the past may no longer be employed by the university, if Dylan wants to give us another chance, that'd be terrific. But you do have to be really, really careful there not to make the younger brother feel like he's being used to get to the older brother, because that can be super tricky. You see that with teammates sometimes, where it's like, you offer the lesser teammate to get the better teammate to come with him. You have to be really careful there, especially with the way things went with Dylan, where there may have been some slights already. You want to be really careful not to give anything that even smells off to Dayton.
And you also have the other part of, his uncle.
May or may not be, probably not on staff here next year. I mean, if I was a betting man,
no.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him on the board.
But I mean, good on the kid. He tweets out pictures of the family. They're all at a Nebraska game. You got Dad, who's one of the best centers ever to play at Nebraska. And then, oh, by the way, I liked his last picture. It's him and his older brother that were here when they were younger.
Interesting.
So it's
reading some tea leaves.
The Mickey way. Hey, can we have another chance? Can we have another chance? I mean, it's not like he's in the class of 23.
It's worth asking.
He's in the class of 24.
You do have a little bit of time to repair that relationship.
Yeah. All right. Brandon Vogel from Hail Varsity is coming up next.
Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620, The Zone.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has been making your game day experience one to remember. Char buffed wings at $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. But now your game day just got bigger and better with Oscar's newly upgraded audio video system. Cheer on your favorite teams this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall, showing up to 8 games at once, and of course, 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Buy your next vehicle your way from anywhere with Woodhouse. Start your journey online at woodhouse.com. Easily shop all new and pre-owned inventory, explore payment options, and apply for financing. Ready to purchase? Schedule your new vehicle for pickup from the dealership or have it delivered to your driveway. Need a little extra help in determining your perfect vehicle? Our knowledgeable and local dealerships can guide you to the vehicle that best matches your needs. Experience car buying your way with Woodhouse, a trusted auto partner since 1975.
With some big-time events coming up, including the Luke Combs concert at the CHI Health Center right here in Omaha, October 28th and 29th. Be sure to check out my friends at ticketsforless.com. It's not all about sports. It's about shows, and it's also about finding the best tickets at ticketsforless.com. So whether you want to see the pageantry of Memorial Stadium on a Saturday, catch a game at Arrowhead Stadium, Tickets for Less is your source for the best tickets. Also, without those crazy per-ticket fees you'll pay on other sites, trust me, you'll keep going back to ticketsforless.com. Compare and save today at ticketsforless.com.
Start NFL Week 8 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account, you'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. This week, it's Bucks and Ravens. Are you like me and you think the Bucks are a horrible vibes team? the Ravens haven't been much better lately either. Maybe look toward an under with a lot of defense going on Thursday night. Or you could look at individual players, Brady, Jackson, and you could parlay them together there for a same game parlay. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same game parlay. Sign up with promo code HAPPER if you don't already have an account. If you do, you are ready to roll. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as knowledgeable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
When Big Mobile charges you an arm and a leg, they're taking your money and your power. And your arm and leg. Boost Mobile gives your power back with an unlimited plan for $25 a month on one of America's largest 5G networks. We can't give you back your arm and your leg because we're not qualified surgeons, unless you're an iguana who can grow limbs back. Switch to Boost and get an unlimited plan for $25 a month. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. New customers only. One line, $25 per month with autopay. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
The big box stores have a secret. When you walk out the door with a new purchase, that's where the service ends. At Ties Outdoor Power and Service, you get great deals on brands like Hustler, Toro, Honda, and Steel. Plus, you get a dedicated, experienced service center. With annual maintenance and repairs, your equipment will last longer and perform when you need it most. See us in Lincoln, Omaha, or Gretna and get 10% off your residential service. Visit TiesOutdoorPower.com, promo code radio, or mention radio to redeem.
1620 The Zone.
All right, finishing up on a Wednesday, that means Brandon Vogel, our friend from Hail Varsity, the magazine, HailVarsity.com, joins us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. How odd is it to live in a world where Illinois football is the ranked team coming into Lincoln as a 7.5-point favorite in a stretch where they have been pretty good on the road as a favorite?
Pretty odd. And not just everything you just mentioned, but kind of the only, I think, unassailable team in the West Division at this point. I did not see that coming in the offseason. You know, this Illinois team coming into the year, from my perspective, felt like one that was, making some steps, particularly towards the end of last year, but they were largely starting over on the O-line. And that was the big question. And question emphatically answered thanks to the returning snaps they did have, plus 2 hits, I think, from the JUCO ranks that are starting at left and right guard.
Brandon, you mentioned that you don't think there's a whole lot of holes in this Illinois team. If you're picking nits, what's a couple things that you look at and say, hey, maybe Nebraska can take advantage here?
They're tough to find. Doing some podcast prep this morning and looking at it, I mean, they should have beat Indiana. So even looking at that one loss and the 9-6 win over Iowa, the Minnesota game was close for a while. They're just kind of executing their plan, and it really becomes they're an excellent efficiency defense. In terms of keeping teams off schedule, first overall, second against the rush. They will give up some big runs. They're still better than average in this, but like the comparative weakness for this Illinois team is you can hit some runs on them on the ground. Wyoming rushed for over 5 yards a carry. Now that game wasn't close. Minnesota was over 5 yards a carry, and that was a 2-score game, a 12-point game. But there's a little bit of that where if you can maybe have some success on the ground, maybe you can, as strange as it seems, keep that offense off the field. I mean, Illinois ranks 3rd nationally in time of possession. It's really complementary football between what they're doing defensively and offensively.
What do you think Whipple? Well, let's stick with the running game and Anthony Grant. Since Indiana, it's been tough sledding for him, and we expect that to be on Saturday. If you're Mark Whipple, Brandon, what do you do to help out an Anthony Grant who, you'd like to get going running the ball? I'm sure you're going to feature him in the passing game, but getting to run the ball, what do you do if you're Mark Whipple to design that up?
I think you got to try and get him into second and third and short. So many of his carries, and Nebraska, Mickey said it yesterday, kind of talking about their big playability. Like, what am I supposed to do? Say don't score in 3 plays? Obviously not, but so much of this, because Nebraska, I think, has had that success, will hit passes for 12, 14 yards on first down. It seems like so many of Grant's carries, and I haven't looked this up specifically, maybe I should, of late, come on 2nd and 10, 2nd and 9. And they're supposed to be kind of contrarian, where, his defense is geared up for a pass. And even those aren't having success. So, honestly, I think maybe a little bit of a shorter passing game, a little bit more of a horizontal passing game early on could get Grant some room to run. And he's good enough individually. We've seen him make guys miss. That if you do that, if you're rushing on 2nd and 4 instead of 2nd and 10, maybe you can hit one of those and play into, again, not a weakness, just a comparative weakness for Illinois with that big rushing game piece of it.
Brandon, it seems like you mentioned the rushing game and trying to get that going. Seems like the creativity in some of the running play calls hasn't been there since Frost departed. Do you think there's any chance we start to see a little bit more kind of outside the box design runs for the design runs for those play calling, or do you think they're kind of going to stick to what we've seen so far?
I would say it's most likely they'll probably stick to what we've seen so far. But I think you hit it on the head. I got the sense coming into the year, the division of labor as far as play calling, and I mean Whipple was calling the plays, but I think Frost had a pretty big hand in the run game. And you can see since then it's been a lot tougher sledding. And we know that Whipple is kind of a pass first coordinator throughout his history. It's just one where you might be seeing the loss of that voice a little bit in those ideas. Not that, you couldn't revisit some of those plays and be like, well, we're prepared to do this. Let's just keep doing it. We just, we haven't seen it a whole lot post Frost departure.
Let's shift over to defense. So this is a defense that, initially Bill Busch got what he wanted, but now 32 missed tackles in the last 2, the 217 yards rushing against Purdue. Probably the bye week came along at the right time. So you get Luke Reimer back. You also were able to reset a little bit, look at some film, and get ready for this 5-game gauntlet where everybody's talking about the defenses Nebraska is going to face. They're going to face some pretty good running backs over the next 5 games. What do you think the defense will look like on Saturday? Any tweaks, anything different? I don't know, maybe personnel, which I don't know how many bodies you have left that have not played that you would see. What does the defense look like coming out of this bye?
I don't know that they have a whole lot of cards left to play. We'll see. Kolarevic in there at inside linebacker. He probably needs to have the best game he's had in a Nebraska uniform on Saturday. A big thing with just Chase Brown and the way Illinois attacked Nebraska a year ago, the Huskers have struggled to set the edge, I think, for most of the season. And if they don't do that on Saturday, it's going to be a problem. Chase Brown leads the nation in not just rushing yards, but carries per game. I mean, it's clear what they want to do. And you're just going to have to win your share, and it may not be a huge share, of those matchups and try to hem him in. Like he's got big playability. There's nothing to take issue with Chase Brown. There are big play running backs out there, but it doesn't matter. He does what they need him to do, which is just grind teams down. So Nebraska's got to be ready to hold up against that. It might have an opportunity to be a little bit opportunistic. Talk about weaknesses of this Illinois team, but I don't even know if this quantifies. It's just a fact. I have 12 fumbles on the year, 9 of them lost. So
great
they
stat.
are a team that will put the football on the ground a little bit. If Nebraska could grab 1 or 2 of those, it might have its path to victory.
Brandon, I want to go back to something you mentioned about the way the Illinois offensive line has been constructed and kind of revamped in basically just a single year. Does that give you hope at all that the starting from scratch from Nebraska's offensive line may not take as long as some people, myself included, have kind of assumed it would?
It did a little bit. When I was looking through the start chart for the Illini this morning and seeing where those guys came from, you got Illinois' version of Cam Jurgens, converted tight end at center. Now, he was there last year. This wasn't an off-season switch for him, but he didn't play a ton last year. And then they knew they had a couple of spots to fill specifically and went and got them. And then their left tackle is a guy who I think started 5 career games prior to this, but had been in the program for a while. So it's the right mix, I think, of development of an existing player or two and supplementing it with immediate help. And they went to the JUCO ranks to do that. Mickey Joseph had an interesting quote on that yesterday too, I thought. Instead of the transfer portal, and you've got one of the best to do it in the past 10, 15 years in Brett Bielema, kind of pulling all the strings.
You know, it is interesting his comment about junior college players, because as the portals become, the place to go shopping, I feel like the junior college ranks have gotten ignored. And maybe that's Nebraska's angle. I did like Mickey's reasoning about the homework you have to do on a junior college player compared to a portal player. But maybe that's where Nebraska's thinking. Everybody's overlooking these players. We see them as guys that can come in and play right away, and we have film on them, and we can go right to their current junior college coach. Do you think that's a possibility why Nebraska's gone, and I mean really heavy, the last couple of weeks into junior college?
I think it is. And, I think that's a little bit of a reflection of Mickey Joseph pulling the strings there. And I think it is a pretty, astute identification of maybe a undervalued asset. And Nebraska has great proximity to a good bulk of junior college football, which doesn't hurt. You can build those relationships. They're places that Nebraska has been in the past. And yeah, you're always going to supplement that with the transfer portal. You didn't have to do any homework on Trey Palmer because the head coach already did all the homework to get him to LSU. But that's an exception. Anthony Grant, junior college guy. So it's interesting. It was interesting to hear Mickey say that, and it'll be interesting to watch that going forward.
One quick question about the Big Ten, then we'll get you out of here. So Illinois rolls in. The metrics say they're as good as there is in college football. But the conference is really good in defense this year. I mean, of some of the top 30 defenses, it's almost like half the league resides inside of the top 30. Any rhyme or reason why this year has become a defensive-minded conference? With when you throw in that the team at the top of the conference scores an abundance of points.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten always leans that direction, in my opinion, but this year does stand out in that regard. If I had to guess, without looking at it specifically, which would be interesting to do, I think you're still seeing the benefits of experienced rosters. It's a little bit of a carryover from 2021 with the COVID year. And most of these teams kind of trend that way anyway. So you add that extra experience on top of it, and all of a sudden, maybe we were used to giving up 14 points a game, but now we're giving up 9, which is where Illinois is at entering this game.
Yeah, which that number is crazy. That they give up 9 points a game.
They've only given up 5 touchdowns in the year. I was looking at their passing numbers like, only 2 passing touchdowns. Well, they've only given up 3 rushing touchdowns. And one of those was set up by a super long kickoff return. They've been really, really impressive defensively.
Great stuff, Brandon. We always appreciate the conversation. Have a great week with you and the colleagues leading up to Saturday.
Sounds good. Good to talk to you guys.
That's Brandon Vogel from Hail Varsity. We'll talk more about that defense tomorrow, but I mean, from stop rate to interceptions to passes defended, and like Robert was saying earlier, Ravi, it's really kind of simple.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't do anything fancy.
No, they really don't. They get after the quarterback.
They got some dudes. They cause some havoc.
Yeah. And they're good enough on the back end to cover. I mean, they got Weatherspoon, who's turned himself into an NFL prospect, and you put him on the number 1 receiver, you get after the quarterback. That's a pretty simple equation.
Huh. on bad little formula to be 6-1. Can they give them a touchdown in the fourth quarter? That's it.
That's crazy.
And you wouldn't say that their offense is prolific.
No, it's not. And they have their
They found a
offense
formula.
complements what their defense does. And that's maybe more important than being prolific on that side of the ball.
And they stay on the field on third down. I mean, that's a scary thing for Nebraska that has the 102nd in terms of third down conversion rate on defense.
If Illinois is on the field for north of 37, 38 minutes, Nebraska's in some trouble.
All right, we'll see you again tomorrow at 6. We'll, of course, have reaction to Nebraska, Wisconsin volleyball tonight, 8 o'clock, big deal. And a day closer to Nebraska and Illinois.
BTN.
Mark Whipple speaks today. First time that he has talked since the Purdue game.
Ooh.